interesting thing about your movie, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe Film community, heart,
This is another great episode of the Film Review. What's going on, people? This is another great episode of the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
I'm Tracy.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And do we have a great one for you today? We're going to be talking about Avengers Endgame.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about the season, the finale of American Gods and their season, their 8-episode season.
Yep. Season 2.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we're going to start with April 30th is soon upon us, and the debut of the Film Review Music Review Show. And do we have a jam-packed show for you? And we're going to be running it down. But of course, you know what I have to do right now. I have to go on ahead and populate and let people know that we're on. So how's your week been for you this week?
It was a great week. The weather is beautiful.
Finally broke.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? DJ D-Wax chiming in. What's going on, D-Wax? You know, he cuts and scratches on the radio station. Let them know where you're at so they can come on in and let them know, you know what I mean, what you're doing while I'm going through here and chiming in. So look.
Yeah, the week's been beautiful.
Yeah, it's been
great
beautiful.
weather.
Finally, warm outside.
Yep.
And everybody can begin to sit up and enjoy what's happening. Right? Film review.
And finally, the Avengers Endgame.
Finally, Avengers
released in the theaters.
That's right. So let me tell you first, so that you guys can know.
Right.
April 30th is the Film Review, the debut of the Film Review Music Review Show. And do we have a lineup for you?
Lineup of great music.
Lineup of great music, right? We're going to go through some of the lists right here while I'm populating, while people are trying to call me while I'm on, boy. I tell you, that's something else. Okay, so as we go here, let me tell you, we go through and tell you the list. We have J Jig, Cicero, Rhyme Schemes,
Right.
Preach J Clark, Mike Bleeze,
Right.
Neighborhood Watch, Casey J Poss, Dame Israel, Master Belly from Africa. That's an import from Africa that sent in his music, and we're going to be playing it. Then we have, now let me tell you first how the Film Review Music Review Show, let me give you the rules of engagement.
Okay.
Every video that's on there is not going to get a review because you're not going to get a review because, you know, we'd be there for hours.
Right.
But we're going to put the jammingest videos together,
Right.
so that independent artists can meet independent filmmakers and Hollywood movie makers, so that their music can be put into these films. That's our push, that's our goal, that's our purpose, and that's what we do. So look. So all of those names I ran down to you, you're gonna see their videos.
Right.
Now the next 3 names,
Right.
1 group and 2 solo acts, you're gonna be hearing their music, and also you're going to be hearing a review from yours truly. So first up is AGYG, Is a Twin, and IC Jones. Wolf Dotson gets a review for I Know, and the featured spotlight, No Face Shadow Man. We just review him all the way through, his whole technique, his music, his concepts,
Style.
yeah, his whole style, everything, you know. So get ready for that. That is April 30th. And let me tell you why we do it, right? We are always a people here, my wife and I, that look to see people be seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated.
Right.
We've always done it. We did it with the Black Ice Chronicles, and now we do it with the film review, and now we do it with the film review music review show,
Because there's a lot
debuting
of-
April 30th.
Right, because there's a lot of great music out there.
A lot of great
A
music.
lot of great independent music out there that you may not necessarily hear about.
Right.
We're able to filter through and give you
Give you
the best of the best.
the best of the best. That's right. And what you're gonna find out from watching it is Crazy D has an ear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he has an ear, and you know, we're just gonna make it happen. So as we go through, let me keep populating here. Review is on, and we want you to stay in, because you know we always have to do this. We always lead up into this, but then once we get into the robust conversation,
Well, while
you know,
you're
it
doing
goes.
that,
Go ahead.
I was wondering, have you guys heard about the Jeffersons reboot?
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be coming on ABC.
And then there's saying, I guess what, Jamie Foxx is supposed to be playing the part of George Jefferson.
That's what I heard.
And they said something about Wanda Sykes playing Wheezy Jefferson, which is kind of weird to me. I agree with Wendy Williams. I don't know. I could see Wanda Sykes playing Florence, because she would be like quick with the humor and really witty. But as far as Wheezy, I don't think so. I think Wanda Sykes would definitely be a better Florence. Like, Florence was also a star of the show. I mean, you know, she I don't know. I don't think,
because she had a spinoff and
yeah.
all that. But I think
she would be a better
I think they want her to
Florence.
stretch. I think they want her to stretch a little bit and not play the obvious. I wouldn't want her to play the obvious.
I wouldn't want her to play Wheezy.
Oh, okay.
But
Is there any reason why?
But looking forward to seeing it, though.
Yeah, it's gonna be good because it's Jimmy Kimmel and the original creator,
Right.
which I cannot think of his name right now.
Let's
you'll
see.
look that up.
I'll look it up, because they're also gonna do a reboot for what is it? All in the Family.
All in the Family. I thought this was all going to be
The same night.
the same night,
Yeah.
and they were going to. It's going to be live TV.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like how, because if I
Norman
remember,
Lear.
Norman Lear. That's it. If I remember correctly about the Jeffersons and Maud
Right.
and All in the Family.
Right.
All in the Family, you met George Jefferson through Wheezy.
Right.
But Wheezy was also on Maud, correct?
Yeah, she was. She played.
She played the
Maud's,
same
housekeeper.
Right, and then
Right.
on you met her because George Jefferson and them had moved moving out the neighborhood. I don't remember exactly how that went, but we know that their son Michael was friends with Archie Bunker's son-in-law, Mike.
Okay, Mike.
Right?
Yeah, Mike.
And so that's how you were introduced, and then you were introduced to George Jefferson through there. But at the same time, you were through Wheezy.
You know who would make a good Wheezy at the time? I think Tachina Arnold would have made a good Wheezy.
You think so?
Yeah, instead of Wanda Sykes.
Well, you will see, because you know you can't battle people who have had success. Norman Lear has had success in telling these stories, so something he saw in Wanda Sykes.
The actress that they're having play Florence is, I'm gonna look up her name again, but it's a Latina actress playing from the show, the One Day at a Time reboot that's on Netflix, is playing Florence. And again, I agree with Wendy Williams that wasn't a good fit because Wendy said Florence is a black character.
But maybe they're looking at what the reality of today is, which is that most of the people who are like
you know what? No, don't mess with our reboots because they didn't mess with the Full House reboot, right?
Yeah, but who was going to?
But I mean, I'm just saying.
Full House.
Well, what I'm saying is, don't mess with the Jeffersons.
Don't mess with the Jeffersons,
right? And I mean, just leave it as he is. If you're going to do a reboot, I want to, don't do this whole maybe who's hot in Hollywood. Give us great talent.
I don't know. I think they just going with what's happening like most of the time because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If they had a black domestic, the NAACP would have came out and asked them, why do you have this black domestic when most black people aren't doing domestic work anymore?
That's just
they're
like
becoming more au pair.
They're constantly showing the movie to help on Lifetime and other channels over and over again. Starring Octavia Spencer and Viola Davis. Well, you know what? The Jeffersons was a certain period of time.
Rodney chimed in. What's going on, Rodney? Thanks for watching. He says Florence was black, and didn't she later go on a spinoff called Room 227?
Right,
227.
I agree with Rodney 100%.
Right. But that was then. This is now.
Well, don't mess with our reboot. They don't bother anyone else's reboots.
No one's going on Full House milquetoast.
Well, who cares about Full House? Leave the Jeffersons reboot. Keep it the way it should be.
Honest,
right.
Keep it the way it was.
Right.
Keep it back in 1970s, early 80s. That's what you're saying.
Florence is a black character.
But I believe that because Norman Lear always
I don't care
the racial
about
issue,
that.
he feels that the banter between.
That's the case.
Because women now they're catching on to there's a little rift or split between ADOS and
I tell you what,
Mexican, so that might get a little laugh.
Hi,
to get the attention. What's going on, Shantae?
But no, well then we'll make All in the Family. He's making
well you know that George is going to be in there, and they'll probably have like a Sammy Davis Jr. character that kisses old boy on the cheek.
All in the Family. I'm trying to remember the husband's name on the show.
Archie Bunker.
Okay, so Archie Bunker. Well, then they could have made Archie Bunker black teen. If you're gonna toy around
they tried that with Amos, and they tried a show like that, and that didn't quite.
They better not screw up the Good Times reboot if they do Good Times. What, they gonna make Thelma Asian?
No, I don't think that the Asian woman would quite fit.
And Florida's gonna be white. And JJ is gonna be
mixed Latino.
You know what? Just don't mess up. If you're not gonna mess up any of the other shows, leave our reboots the way they should be.
We're gonna see
Kept.
what.
I wonder what Marta Gibbs feel about this. She can't be happy about it.
Let me say this real quick. She might have a current role coming in as a different person.
Really, they could have brought her back as Florence.
No, because it's younger.
I mean, I know, but just see.
But now here we go. This is a discussion that we need to have. We're going to be reviewing Endgame.
Right.
We already talked about April 30th, people.
Right.
The film review, music review show. We went through the names. We're going to run the names again as more people come in of the artists that have signed up to be on it.
Right.
And we're talking about American Gods and the theme in it about the black gods that are in it. And the finale happened.
Yes.
Or it's going to happen for you. We saw it earlier. But we have to have this discussion because a lot of people talk about things being ours.
Right.
Film review is on, but
it's
the Jeffersons,
there's so much great black talent out there,
nor Good Times, nor All in the Family.
Right.
None of that was actually ours.
Well, you know what the characters
I mean, the characters are there, but it's kind of like
or Sanford and Son.
like people
they
have
better not screw up that
like people have the debate here in Las Vegas about the Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
And they say that was ours and that was our place to go and do things. Yeah, it was yours in a way, but it wasn't owned.
Well, it was a place
so that's what it really is when it's ownership. Michael Evans, the actual Michael Evans, did write the character of JJ and all those, and it was loosely based on his life, right? But then there was a disagreement on how they were going to go about it. Hey, what's going on, Shani? Thanks for chiming in. There was a disagreement on how they were going to go about Good Times, and somehow Mike was out. And you know who owns what is on the screen is the person who they signed and wrote the check to, and the person who said copywritten by. That's who owns it. Published by. That who owns it. So unless he got some publishing and he got some writer's credit as far as being on the dotted line, as far as being the writer, he really didn't get anything. So Mike Evans was out, and Norman Lear is in. So really, this is not name? Mike Evans. And Mike Evans, that was the son for
the original son was better.
Oh, you talking about between the two?
On the Jeffersons, yeah.
Lionel.
The original song, Lionel, right? He's the one who actually wrote.
That's right, Mike Evans,
with Norman Lear.
And he went on to
Lionel, the original Lionel.
You like Lionel better than the more homogenized Lionel?
The original Lionel.
The other Lionel was more
realistic,
palatable
for them.
Right, he was more straight-laced, clean-laced. Mike Evans looked, I guess, like what they would say today. Somebody had an afro, they would say he looks like a thug.
It was more realistic.
And you know what thug means in European American and Caucasian language? That means N-word. For those who didn't know, that's what thug means. You know, they took what Bone and what Tupac was talking about and flipped it on his ear. You know how we used to have a saying back in the late 80s, early 90s where they say, it's a black thing, you don't have to understand. They took that and said, yeah, we don't have to understand it. We're just going to make you criminal. We're going to make your skin criminal. You know, we were just in the store, you know, and I happened to see a brother. He was walking ahead. He had his earbuds in. And he was doing... We're going to get to your comments in a minute, Rodney, so stay tuned. I'm just populating, but I want to let you know that we're not ignoring it. We're going to get to all the comments. We were in the store, and he had his earbuds in, and he was doing a delivery service, picking up people's groceries to deliver, right? And I noticed that it was a Asian American woman. If she was Asian American, I just give that tag. And she kind of paused. She didn't have a purse, but she did the clench, like how the European American woman clenches the purse when she sees a black male. She kind of did the hesitation. Have you ever been out in the store, people, as a black male, and you're walking, you're minding your own business, and then you just notice ahead of you that the European American, the Caucasian, and now Asians, because Asians have become honorary Caucasians, come to find out that they do the little pause, clench the purse, even if the purse isn't there.
She did that to him.
He did that to him. So as he was getting his cart, I said, have you ever noticed that when you're walking as a black man, you're walking, you're minding your own business, you're not even looking in the direction, but you can see peripheral. You always have to use your peripheral vision because there's such craziness going on, right? And you'll notice, so I was talking to him, I said, you'll notice that a person is not like you, will pause and hesitate and act as if you're some kind of threat, you know, like they're afraid of you. And he was like, yeah, I noticed that, and I noticed her do that at the time, but I just ignore it, right? And then I was like, yeah, but you know, it's hard to ignore it because the very people who are acting as if they're afraid of you. You're the one that's supposed to be really afraid of them.
Hi,
hey, what's going on, Alfred? Thanks for chiming in. You know, you're supposed to actually be more afraid of them, more in fear of them, because they do things to you because you're supposed to be the what's the word? You're supposed to be the perceived threat, when actuality they are the threat because they're there to possibly do harm to you just because they have some kind of fictitious fear that they shouldn't have in the first place, right?
It was interesting to see the interaction, because here this man is like minding his own business, and because we're behind them, so we're able to see what's going on in front of us. So to see the whole interaction and the way she
put her cart back, and then when she turned, it was almost like as if it was a startle.
And he's minding his own business, doing his job. It was just weird. It was just.
And so he just ignored it, but he said, "Yeah." But it's just
he said, I get it all the time.
I get it all the time. So I'm saying, well, good talking with you. You know, you just have to see if your perceptions of what's going on out there.
And he was saying that it was just weird too, because like we said, if you watch anyone that watches the ID network.
So remember how I referenced,
you know who the killers are.
Right. If you watch ID, if you watch Lifetime, if you you know, True TV, if you watch all those things and you watch the stories, I would advise people to start watching the stories. If you're black, don't just watch black films. Watch white films and see what they think about you and see what they do to each other and what they do with each other, just like they do to you. But anyway, so remember how I referenced a few seconds ago that you know, you see this and you feel this and everything, how we used to say it's a black thing, you don't have to understand. They took that and swung it on its ear and made it so they wouldn't understand it, right? And now they make it as some kind of perceived thing, which is purposefully done because they seem to understand everything else. They seem to understand the rap music. They seem to understand that and want to party with that, but they don't seem to want to understand the people where it comes from.
Right.
Which this is a straight through line throughout the whole history here, and we've talked about that, how we were brought here for labor, and then once it was over, Thomas Jefferson said, "You don't know what they could do with them. Let's send them back. If not, we'll never be able to coexist together." And all we do is try to coexist, and all they do is try to find a way to kill you. And this is just the latest thing in trying to kill you, is to make you seem like you're a person that is a danger, which then makes you an endangered
But the thing about it is, what's funny is, you're still populating.
Yeah, I'm still populating. I'm on.
What's so funny is this guy was literally, like I said, he was minding his own business. He had his ear thing going. He had the name of the badge. We're not going to say the name of the company, but it was one of the delivery services. And he was getting ready to get the groceries. And the way this woman reacted to him, and he's like not paying attention to her, minding his own business. Now, this same woman, had he been somebody recognizable, like let's say Jamie Foxx or Will Smith or something, this same woman would have been such the biggest groupie in their faces, groupifying them. But meanwhile, she see him and she wants to grab her purse, and I'm like, girl, nobody wasn't paying attention to you. You're not that important.
Nobody's paying attention. And have you ever noticed, like me, I'm in the store and I look over. I say hello to my people, but I look over the other people. Have you ever noticed that they get upset if you look over them too? I mean, it's like a real crazy situation for those who don't. Listen, if you are out here podcasting and you don't at least say something about race, then you must be wanting and really willing to want to be a coon and think that by not saying anything or not being trouble, that somehow you're going to be safe, and that's farthest from the truth. So you might as well say what you need to say and say it clearly, so that people will understand it and be like, yo, I get where they're coming from. I stand up so that later in life, my generations that come after me don't have to sit down. You know what I'm talking about?
It was just crazy because this guy was minding his own business, and just to see, you can't, I mean, just everyday life, just minding your own business and just have to deal with just
Speaking
racist stuff like that.
Speaking how his story, before we get into our main review, we got off on this tangent. My wife brings these things up, and then let's go.
Because this guy was minding his own business. It was crazy.
Listen, so
she'd be the same one out in the parking lot calling the police because he harassed her and he was minding his own business. It was crazy.
Okay, so listen. We watched this. I guess it was a layover from Black History Month, correct? Right. And it was about the man who was the subject of Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Oh yeah.
Right? Can you pull his name up real quick? Because I gotta make sure
it was
that
on
the people
PBS
know it
last
was
night.
on PBS, and we watched it. And why did we watch it? It was more degradation, black degradation, societal porn on black people.
Yeah, his great granddaughter was.
Yeah, his great granddaughter. We're gonna talk about that. So look, this is the example of what I was saying about if you have a podcast and you don't at least speak on issues, and you think that just being good or well dressed or any of that is going to see you through, or what's his name?
It was called Redeeming Uncle Tom. The Hosea Henson story.
Okay, Hosea Henson.
If I could get those 56 minutes back of my life,
I'm look, Hosea reclaiming the time. Listen, Hosea Williams, in my opinion, we cannot. They didn't tell it right, because if it's correct, there is no redeeming him. And the Uncle Tom character was more worth telling. The Harriet Beecher Stowe fake character was more, that was based on him, was more truthful than he was. Listen, so this is why I say that if you're on podcasts and you're not talking about issues, then you're really saying that you really want to be a coon and want kumbaya and everything's going to be better. Here's this man. What's his name again?
Hosea Henson.
Hosea Henson. Now listen, he has an opportunity. We're not going to tell you because we want you to go see it. He has an opportunity to free some people.
Because
he became an overseer because he snitched on the other overseer that was stealing, which was a white man, probably an Irishman, right? And another thing about these documentaries, they need to start telling you the nationality of these people. If they were Irish, original English, who had come here during George Washington time, that already found us here, or so on and so forth, right? They need to start telling you what these nationalities are, and they're not just saying that the people were white, okay? They need to stop saying that, because before there was white, there was color. Okay, there was nationalities and ethnic groups, right? That got their weight up to be called white by doing certain things that would degrade and destroy black people. So anyway, he has an opportunity. Now, the Mason-Dixon line is Kentucky and Cincinnati. Now, when you cross over into Cincinnati, you're crossed into Ohio, and Ohio was a free state. Right? So he had taken, he was taking like 18 slaves from his one master's plantation to his master's brother's plantation, because his master was losing it because he was poor in financial skills and overextended, was a drunkard, gambled, lost a lot of his property, and he was losing the land, but he didn't, because he was in debtor's prison, but he didn't want to lose his property, which were the slaves. So he had his dude Hosea take him over there, because he became the new overseer. So he took him over there, but he told Hosea that he was keeping his mother there. So his mother stayed. He took him across. Now they got to Cincinnati, Ohio, and he could have freed because there were free black people there. And they were like, what are you doing, man? I'm just putting it in regular terms, but this is basically saying, what are you doing, man? You can just set all these people free and they can just head up as far as into Canada, head to Nova Scotia, maybe, you know what I mean? What are you doing? He felt the urge, as he writes this in his writings, in his memoir, he felt the urge and to not be true. So he packed them up overnight and kept going to take them down to back into the other side of
Mississippi, Louisiana.
To Mississippi. That's right, Mississippi.
Which were considered, well, they stated that they were the harshest states.
The harshest state, right?
On their slaves.
Right,
Those
harshest
states,
state. So he wanted to take them. So he took them, right? He took them to Missouri. When then he stays and he gets there.
Right.
He somehow finagles. He's working for himself. He's an agent for himself. He wants to go back and talk to his master, because he was talking to some abolitionists that were down there, and they told him, well, maybe you can go back and negotiate your freedom, right? So he went back, but when he got back, he found out that his mother had died. Nobody had told him that his mother had died. So right then and there, you should have known, right, that this was crazy. So he had negotiated with him, and he had come up with a price for him like $750.
Because he had $275.
No. He went and sold everything. He sold his horse, sold his wagon,
right.
sold some jewelry he had or something, and he
right.
came back and he paid the guy $300.
Right.
So he still had he paid the guy $3 because it was like $750, and he still owed $450. So when he traveled back to his master's brother's plantation,
right.
he told him, well, I can just work it off, right. and it's only $450. But he said no.
He added another zero.
They added another zero. Basically, he was paying $1,000. So every time that he would try to get free,
right.
they would add another zero.
Right.
So he's trying to be an honest broker
right.
amongst people who are dishonest,
because
and
he would come up with
him.
The money that they asked for,
but they would keep on.
So here's the money you asked for. Well, we just added a zero behind that number, so it happened to him.
So it would keep on going. So finally, he was fed up, and he took his wife, because they were getting ready to sell them into even to a worse plantation. They was going because he had went back to his main master's plantation, which was over in some place else. I forget now. And so his wife that he hadn't been in the harshness, because he had went back on another trip and saw how devastating the people who he had, how devastating it was for the people who he had took back there, and how they were treated, being starved to death, going into the malaria swamps, catching things or getting things for the plantation, and they were being starved to death. And he said, that can't be for me. So he went up there and decided he was going to go to Canada. So when he finally got to Ohio, he got a person to one of those steamboat captains to cross him over. He didn't know if he was going to be truthful or not, but he went back and got his wife, and they went and got on this boat, and they got off in Ohio, and he went up into Canada. So then he wrote his story, and then after that, he decided, he felt so bad that he began to go back into the South.
He saved 118
slaves. But he had put more than that and kept more than that in the slavery by being a good Negro. So the story of rehabilitating Uncle Tom, you can't rehabilitate that. You can't really rehabilitate
like
that.
I said, it was white producers and it was their white view.
But it's their white view, and was it like that?
No, I don't think so.
What I'm saying, but if it was, well, we see people who are like that.
No, but they said that the reason why he did not free when he had the opportunity, when he was in Kentucky, he had the opportunity to free the slaves who he was supposed to take to Louisiana and to Mississippi. He had the opportunity, but the reason why he didn't, they said, was because he was being loyal, but the master kept his mother. Now, what I read from that was they let his wife was with him, remember? But they kept his mother hostage. They kept his mother hostage.
Bondage. Kept her in bondage, not hostage. Because she was property, so she'd be in bondage.
Well, she was a hostage.
She wasn't
because they
free
wouldn't let her go. So they
Right.
kept it. They let his wife and children travel with him, but they made sure his mother stayed with them on the plantation in order for him to drop the slaves off.
Right.
In Mississippi and Louisiana.
Yeah, but
so their game plan was,
that's
well,
no
just in
excuse.
case he think about running away and freeing those people, we just gonna keep his mother here and keep him in line. And that's what that was about.
Okay.
But the way they told the story was, he was being loyal to the master. That's the reason why he dropped the slaves off in Mississippi and Louisiana under those harsh conditions. And went back to his slave master because he was so loyal to the slave master. No, it's because they held his mother there.
But the main point is
they knew he would torture his mother.
But the main point is that you know you're dealing with liars and cheaters. Yeah. And so they are lying and cheating on you, and they didn't even let him know when his mother had died, and he was still loyal. After his mother had passed, he was still loyal. Let me tell you, the conversation is going crazy on the watch party. So if y'all not over on the watch party side, Shanine and Rodney are going to it right here. Diane Sappho Cooks chimed in. She said the subliminal suggestions are so strong, it is laughable. The looks, the moves, right. So part of the problem or problem of the solution. Okay, Rodney Smith, he asked that. You better say something. I love you guys. Hey, Rodney. Right. So look, the solution is if you're not out there at least saying something in your podcast about what's happening. Either way, like Tariq Nasheed will say on his thing, either way they're going to get you. Right. So you might as well stand up.
Right.
And stand for something. I can't stand up. I can't sit down for standing up.
Right.
Because I have to stand up so the generations later don't have to sit down.
Right.
We're going through some things, and either you're gonna stand up
and talk
because
about it.
Because all you have to do is read his story and you will know. Now I'm not talking about just Hosea over here. I'm talking about his story. I'm talking about Caucasian American story. His story. If you read his story, you will see that they will not tell you the truth when they want to use you. Right? And so that's the aspect. So either way, get up, stand up, be about something, say your piece, mean what you say what you mean what you say, put it across, because just not saying anything and just cooning and thinking that it's going to be all right because you're a good person. They don't care about this. This is not what racism, white supremacy, eugenics, and all that is about. It's not about that. It's about the fear of a black planet. And if people begin to have love and love one another, they won't see themselves anymore. So this is what it's about. And all you have to do is research, and you will see this is true. So stand up, be about it, say something.
Just like on Like It Is Radio, Franklin.
Yeah.
The issue, he talks about what would be uncomfortable truths. Like what's happening in the schools out here, the racism out here. He talked about it on his show, multiple times.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So you have to see. That's why I shoot Franklin's show.
Yeah.
Because Franklin brings through truths. You know what I'm saying? And it may seem so minute and little, but the truths that come through, Like It Is Radio, that comes on Fridays, 10 p.m. to 11, right here on Crazy Dion channel right here on Facebook. When it comes on, it's telling those truths that get through that people don't like. Did you hear, speaking of, standing up and not cooning and being able to speak out, did you see the article where Facebook was punishing black profiles for speaking on racism?
Well,
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Because I would always tell Franklin, I say, you know, they cut the signal. Like, if this signal cuts people,
that's because
it's because they didn't want, and it cuts for about a minute, and then it'll come back in. When you're speaking something, if you're not cooning, or you're doing all kinds of other stuff, you know what I'm saying, world star type stuff, if you're not doing, that'll go through. But if you're kicking some knowledge, they will kill the signal for a while and keep it, and then bring it back, because they're punishing you for speaking on injustice, speaking against injustice, and telling people to stand up. So let's see.
If you don't speak about injustice that's happening to your people, nobody else will.
Nobody else will, because guess what, people? No one cares. So you have to stand up and speak out. And if you're not knowledgeable about it, Shanine said exactly. If you're not knowledgeable about it, then get some books, because you know we need to catch you. You don't have to. I used to have to use in the late 80s, early 90s when I was going to the library. I've told that story before. You can go back to other film reviews and check it out. We had to use the Dewey Decimal System. We had to use microfiche. We had to go through an actual paper magazines. Now you can just Google this. You just say the topic, and it'll come right up on Google, and you can research. And you can research right there and read. And if not, you know, there are people putting out DVDs, so you don't, because most of the people not necessarily, they're reading but not as much. So there's DVDs that can fill you in on the knowledge that you need to know, right?
Especially Tariq Nasheed's series, Hidden Colors. Yeah, excellent.
Like when I watch him, I say, oh, I know that's true because I read that in a book. Right. Now look, Rodney Smith says, MLK said, a man cannot ride your back unless it's bent. It's true. That's right. Stand up, Rodney says. Diane Sappho Cook says, hello. And then Shani, no, she was saying hello like a saying, you know how people say hello.
She agrees. Yeah.
Right. MS schools suck. Mostly white women as teachers. Oh, Mississippi schools, they just did it. They just found a way. Okay, you don't want to be segregated, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna segregate the white kids and put them in private school, but we're gonna bring you young female white teachers who were probably trying to go for some kind of degree, but they said, well, let me just go get a teacher because I played around enough drinking and going to the alcoholic parties and all that. So we're not segregated, but we're not teaching you anything, and we're saying that the black men, that black boys are predators. Like Hillary Clinton said way back. That's why she didn't get the nomination.
And speaking of Shanine, because here's Javon, you know, they say we need more males, you know, black males in the school, he's a teacher and with a degree from Ohio State, but what, Mississippi doesn't want him teaching.
You know what Mississippi wants?
What?
They want more janitorial services. They want black men.
Oh, that's what they told them.
That's why they want black men to be, you have a degree, you have that bachelor's, and you know what they told you? Like Farrakhan, you said that's a BS degree, and here you go. Here's the broom and the mop, and go clean out this school. You can be in the school, but you're gonna be, hi, Mr. Janitor. You know what I mean? Hi, Mr. Custodian. You know, those are the roles that they have you in.
Which is nothing wrong.
Like
with
what
that.
year? There's nothing wrong with that. But if that's not what your chosen
his profession
was
teaching, and then but this woman decides, she tells him. He was best fit for, was it the dishes? What did he?
Whatever he said. It was disgusting, and you know, racism ain't dead.
So she said, in Mississippi, your Ohio State degree is nothing.
It was just faking. But anyway, it was faking being gone away, but it's not, because you cannot change people's hearts, right? Rodney Smith said, I saw it and have been put in FB jail for exposing racist truths. You see, so everybody is experiencing this, and while everybody is on Facebook, did y'all get rid of y'all Black Planet accounts? Black Planet still exists. Hopefully you still have your Black Planet. I do. Do y'all still have y'all MySpace? I remember when MySpace became unpopular. It was 2008, and because they were based out of Arizona, and they kept on pushing John McCain ass. So I wrote on my MySpace, I said, how come, and I even wrote them like, suggestion letter. I wrote the same thing, just copied and pasted it. I said, how come we're not seeing anything about Barack Obama and all we're seeing is about John McCain? And then when I researched, I found out they come from Arizona. So I added, just because you're in Arizona doesn't mean that you should play favorites. All of them should be equal. So then they started putting it up, but it was too late and Facebook came along. But here we go. What you cannot trust are people who don't want to understand, right? So that's why I say, do you still have your Black Planet? Do you still have your MySpace? Because even though MySpace has turned into more of a music genre type thing, where you can learn about the new independent music, they probably flipped that way because Soulja Boy used MySpace to jump, right? And so when he jumped off, then MySpace kind of recycled. Then it was purchased. Yeah. It was rumored it was purchased by a certain artist, and they're going. But anyway, do you still have your Black Planet? Because you should have that Black Planet. It should be populating that and putting that stock price through the roof. You know what I mean? So, just food for thought on that one. Unfortunately now on my page, some Black people are supporting racist narratives so much that the white racists are sitting and watching. Okay, that's Rodney Smith said that they're just sitting and watching. Yeah, sometimes we do it to ourselves, like Hosea. So I don't necessarily, I read the Uncle Tom book and I understood it, that he sacrificed so that the slaves, he could steal the slaves away and get them away. But now that I know the real story about the man, that was
you can't
mostly
go by that PBS story as the real story.
Well, his great granddaughter,
which was this white woman with blonde hair and
but
blue eyes. So
maybe,
you don't even know she was
his
really.
Kids felt better once they got into Ohio and Canada, because Ohio is a state where interracial marriage could take place. When his kids got older, they probably felt that it was better to marry interracially. Who knows?
That documentary made him look really bad, so I don't really. And the producers, like I said, it was just like it was. White,
there's a new. So Rodney says he has one called Black Junction. Okay. So subs there, and the Black kids are amazed when they see him dishwashing. Okay. Javon subs there, and the Black kids are amazed when they see him dishwashing. So for them, for the Black kids to see a Black dishwasher in that position is amazing, right? That means the Mississippi, they have kept Mississippi. I'm using this word as a retarded, meaning to slow down and not bring up to pace. Not retarded like a person that has a mental ailment or something. Laughing out loud, Tracy. Whatever you said before, Shanine was laughing out loud. Okay, so this is why people, you have to stand up. So there's one called Black Junction, one definitely called Black Planet, and MySpace. Keep all of those, you know what I mean, and then show Facebook that it can't do those type of things to you, because believe it or not, people, like always, we are the ones that are pushing the dollar, because the other people are so milquetoast, and what they're talking about is so over the top that they can't get any ad dollar out of it. We are, if you didn't know it, all you gotta do is research. Facebook made it so that the entertainment was what you post, and that's how they sell ads on what you post. So if you're not willing to stand up, people, you know what I'm saying, don't be the ones to try to get in the way and think that people are troublemakers. We talked about Amistad, which the story is not about us, but it tells a story where you could see a group of people who were ADOS, who are split because some people read the Bible and others were out there doing the work, and the ones that read the Bible didn't do the work will say, oh, you're just causing trouble, when in actuality the reason why they pushed through is the people who pushed through had faith, but they read it differently and they pushed through. So don't be the COON, okay? Don't be the COON. Read the book, whatever faith you have. Don't be the COON. be about proactive, because either way they're gonna get you. And I'd rather go out standing up than sitting down. Let me take a drink of water. All right, people. So you see,
faith without works
faith
is
is without works is dead. And don't think just because you got faith that it's gonna pass through, because you can't do it without working. All right, people. So now we finished talking about that, but again, I want to tell you about April 30th. April 30th is the debut for the Film Review Music Review Show. We've got J. Jig Cicero. She's a female MC from Cleveland, Ohio.
She's good.
She's doing her thing. I mean, she spits. She's been spitting since she had another name back when we did Record Store Day, and we still got that video up. Then we have Rhyme Schemes. He has this Fever Wine on Me. It's the female is singing and he's flowing, and they're out there and they shot it in I don't know what it's shot, but it's in the islands. Nice Caribbean feel. Yeah. You're gonna love it. Yeah. It should definitely be in films. Yeah. Preach J. Clark. Right. He's a gospel rapper. Yep. You know what? Because I come from like the Cleveland Renaissance type thing, which is I deal with all black experience. I don't separate it. It's all together. Yeah. So, when you see this, you see viewer discretion is advised. Right. But when you see it, I mix it all because it's all of our experiences. That's what I love about great stage, is you see all of our experiences in a presentation. I love that.
It's nice. It's a nice combination of R&B and like island reggae music, along with you have hip hop artists as well as hip hop gospel artists. Yes, right. Nice.
And you got the hard, and you got the party, and it's all together. Then we got Mike Bleeze. He comes up. Neighborhood Watch, definitely. So we got the rah-rah. Right. We got the gospel. Yeah. We got the pro-black. Right. Conscious on there. KCJ, Paz. Excellent record. They could be, all these records can be heard in movies. Dame Israel, he's got one called The Jungle 2. Great record. It's a word video with images, and it tells the story of what's happening out there within the neighborhoods with black people. Master Belly, he's from Africa. He came in, he submitted his music.
His song is really nice.
That's right. And his song is nice. And then all of these, so again, like I told you, the Film Review Music Review Show, every video will not be reviewed, but we are showing the top videos. Right. And over time, they will all be reviewed. But we would be there for hours reviewing stuff. It wouldn't be entertaining. So we pop you with the videos, and then each show will have 3 different reviews on the show. And this particular debut, April 30th, we have OGYG, Is a Twin, and Icy Jones. Right. Wolf Dotson is reviewed, and No Face Shadow Man. Yep. He is a funketeer for sure. Yeah. And you will enjoy his music. So April 30th, and it's going global, and we're going to tell you that these are the places that you're going to be able to see it. And then closer to the date, we're going to be dropping how you can see it globally. Africa, Europe, America. Right. You know what I mean? South America. You learned about the No Face Shadow Man from Let's Go Entertainment. Yeah, Let's Go Entertainment. It was an event in San Diego. Yeah, Eddie. And they had pictures. And I said, who is this guy? Right. You have to see, once you see his appearance. And so I looked it up, and then I listened to the music, and I said, oh, he definitely has to be reviewed. And, we've been corresponding, and, he's a cool guy. So anyway, this is where you're going to be able to see it over the internet. LordlandFilms.com, YouTube, Vimeo. Also, we turned it into a mixtape version. Anybody remembers the Black Book Hip Hop that I did? It turned into mixtapes also. But it's going to be on Mixcloud, SoundCloud, MySpace, FB, Twitter, Instagram, all ISO devices, PlayStation, and Xbox. And we're going to talk about more about how you can see it global. Oh, shoot, I'm going to tell you now, because you can see all of the episodes of the film review right now globally by going to your Roku or your smart TV and downloading the YouTube app, search the film review podcast or the film review on YouTube, and it comes up and you're able to see it on 16 by, see it on your set, 32 inch, 50 inch set. You're able to see it, and you see it in the crystal clear clarity that Crazy D brings. You can also do the same thing. You can go right to Vimeo, download the Vimeo app, right? Search then Lordland Films. Search Lordland Films, and all the different Lordland film selections come up. Some are like the films, some of those are for pay, and a lot of free material, complimentary material, and you're able to go through and watch right there on Vimeo and definitely see the crystal clear clarity that Crazy D brings. All right, so we talked about that. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about is American Gods. Okay. Now, the American Gods finale happened.
Excellent show on Stars.
Excellent show, right? So American Gods is about the protagonist, Shadow.
Shadow Moon.
Shadow Moon. And he runs into the antagonist, his antagonist, Odin, who is played by Ian McShane. Shadow Moon is played by
Ricky Whittle.
Yeah, he's played by him. And so he's approached by him because he's when it opens up, you find Shadow Moon he's incarcerated, but he's getting out for some reason. They're letting him out because his wife died. I don't understand. I don't understand why. Season 1. We're talking season 1 to bring you up, because if you haven't seen it, you have to see. Season 1 is incredible. The mythos that they build, they go back and show you how the gods came back and what came about. And what we love about it is plenty of black gods in this piece, and they roam and they talk and they stand with dignity. They have agency within this show. It's on Stars, American Gods, okay? So he's going home because his wife is dead. So obviously it has to do with something being pushed by the gods to have him get out for this reason, right? So you find him coming home, and at the same time, you're introduced to the backstory. The backstory is told, how they met, yada, yada, yada.
Did we say Shadow Moon is a black character?
Yeah, Shadow Moon is black character, right? So that's how that's introduced. Right. And so then they show you how his wife dies. Right. His wife ended up dying, and she has some salami in her mouth. And I just say that, salami, and it got choked in her throat. And she was driving and she got choked in her throat, and then that's what happened, right? So fast forward to season 2, right? Because we were looking forward to season 2, and we have talked about American Gods season 2 before. The first 3 episodes, people, because it took a while for it to come out, because it came out in 17, didn't show in 18, but then it released because now in 2019. They changed the showrunners. Right? Yeah. So the showrunners had a whole mythology laid out in this world of American Gods, right? And telling how, starting from the feudal gods, when the people were roaring, most of the time the gods came about because people need to pray to something to go to war. Right? So they explain that to you. Then they show you the Egyptian god.
Queen of Sheba.
Queen of Sheba.
She is no joke.
But in her Belle Chris is her name. But this season they've been calling her Queen of Sheba. And she's Queen of Sheba. Let me tell you something.
She's no joke.
In the season, viewer discretion is advised, because she's swallowing season 1, because she's swallowing men whole through her vagina. We've told you that, right? That's how she did it. And so it's amazing, and she was a strong character. But we also told you in season 2, they started to make her weak. The first 3 episodes, she was a weak character, and none of the black gods seemed to have agency, right?
But now,
it starting in episode 4.
Right.
Episode 4 it's as if the new showrunners moved all of those scripts that they had wrote out the way and found some older scripts and tied it in because it got on track, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
because now she's powerful.
She's powerful, and the black gods that are. For one thing, for anybody who's in theater and who is in film, who can really get a grasp of what I'm saying here, you know, those who are really in it, to see an actor or most black actors on film, that's at least 30 years of experience that you're seeing on film. So when they deliver, you are seeing top acting ability. They're not just thrown in there. They've had to maintain and look a certain way. They have to at least look 20 years younger. Because they've got 30 years of experience. If they're 50, they've got to at least look like they're 30.
Because the cast is amazing. Like, you're talking about the scene between Orlando Jones, who plays Mr. Nance, and D. Moore Barnes, who plays Mr. Ibis.
Yeah, right. Let me tell you something. Great. Orlando Jones as Mr. Nance.
Powerful.
I don't know why Stars doesn't get any nominations. Stars, American Gods, at least at the NAACP, because of what they're saying. If you can have something Crazy Rich Asians up there, you can have American Gods up there and hand out awards, because they did recognize 50 Cent's show.
Oh, Power.
They did recognize them.
Finally.
And so, you know, forget the Academy Awards, NAACP, BET Awards, but Stars, American Gods, those actors have to begin to be recognized by their black peers on these shows. They're already recognized, no doubt, but to see the way that they deliver this, it is incredible.
Yeah. Orlando Jones is the consultant also.
That's right.
On American
Now,
Gods.
when they first came back, they had Mr. Nancy seeming weak and playing more of the stereotypical pimp role. That ended. Episode 4, it was as if the script writing totally changed.
Yeah.
It was like they realized that they couldn't keep the mythos up, keep the legend up. They just couldn't, and they just went back into a better direction, right? Let's see what some people are saying real quick. No washing, subbing. He was offered that job as dishwasher. Okay, he subs sometimes there, and they see him do. Okay, I get it. I got it. So he subs as a teacher there, and sometimes he's there washing dishes as extra because they only letting him sub because it's Mississippi. And you know, Uncle Tom's Cabin is on our reading club reading list. We read Miseducation of the Negro first. Now we are reading Black Economics by Jerwanga Hanjufu. That's Rodney Smith said that. Cleveland, Masha Tomlinson said, hello, you should see how to come on our network. We will be talking to you after this is over. Just come on CBS Channel 7. We will be talking to you as soon as this is over. Diana Sappho Cook says, real talk. We will be talking to you as soon as this is over. All right.
Cleveland's on.
What's going on to Dominique Alexander Hart? She chimed in. Joined in. Okay, so look. I can't say enough about it. I got off on a tangent on talking about the black actors, okay?
Excellent
but
acting.
When you, like I said, when you see these people, it's 30 years.
It's as if you're watching them on stage.
It is. And they're bringing it, and on top of that, they know about the close-up from film.
Right.
And so they bring it. So the conversation between
Mr. Nancy and
Mr.
Ibis.
And Mr. Ibis and Queen of Sheba. She was there. That's played by Tanad Badaki.
Yeah.
That's how she pronounced her name, even though it's spelled different.
With the Y,
yeah. She put Tanad Badaki.
Badaki, yeah.
Let me tell you something. Her as Belle Chris and now Queen of Sheba.
It's amazing.
Let me tell you something. It's amazing.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. In theater,
Yes.
in art, when we've talked about art and the need or the necessity for our women in particular to not be uptight about their body form and to express it and to put it across because it is the best form on the planet Earth. Okay? Best body form on the planet Earth, emulated but could never be duplicated. Right? She does things in this series that if she was not a true actress, not a true actor, a true thespian that could get up and have confidence and strength and be able to deliver the lines and do what she does disrobed. She does scenes where she is disrobed, but she comes across, man, and it leaves you don't even think about that, but it's part of the story. And I always see people in film. I see people in films and I say, that wouldn't happen like that.
Right.
That's so they're not gonna go for it. If you're
realistic.
you have to know that as a model, your body is the instrument used to model clothes. It is nothing more. It's not sexual. In acting, you being an actor, it is not sexual. The scene that you're in, it may be sexual in it, but it is not. But using your body as the instrument to tell the story is not a sexual thing. And people have to separate, okay, this was a movie, and now this is reality. And we have to come around and start to realize that. But when you're so good at what you do, people believe it. Yeah. So that's neither here nor there as far as people believing it outside and saying you're the same as you are as a character. That happens. That happened to Bruce Lee in China. So in Hong Kong.
People
so
tried to fight him in real life.
Tried to fight him in real life, and they, unfortunately for them, he was a kung fu master. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But I have to give it to her now. Again, she is not an ADOS. She is. She just got her citizenship last year or a couple of years ago. I think I was watching a video on 17. So she must have got her citizenship at 16 in America, coming across but telling a story of ADOS, right? Yeah. And then we won't get into the politics of that because I just have to give the woman her props, the way she delivered. Let's go through the cast.
But yeah, Ian McShane, who plays Mr. Wednesday, his acting is marvelous.
That's right. He's also Odin, the god Odin, the god of war.
Right. And then another favorite is Pablo Schreiber, who plays Mad Sweeney, the leprechaun.
Yeah, Sweeney.
And Schreiber, I wonder if he's related to Liv Schreiber because they look alike.
Mm-hmm. Do they?
Yeah, Liv Schreiber is what show is that on Showtime? He's like the male version of Olivia Pope.
Oh, okay. The signal. Oh, they cut the signal real quick, but they brought us back. Yeah. But that's good. So they said we missed before. Okay, what else? Who else?
Who else? Oh, I like Bruce Langley. He's so irritating. He plays the part so well as the technical boy, the god of social media tech.
He plays
so
a media
irritating.
Tech, and the reason why the gods were so fleshed out is because a lot of the anti-black racism is happening on the internet.
Right.
And he is a stone cold racist, cold-hearted bigot as this particular god of technology. Who else do we have?
The person I was talking about earlier, that's Ray Donovan. Liv Schreiber plays Ray Donovan. So, but on the show, it disappears. The Pablo Schreiber plays Sweeney, and
Sweeney.
The acting is top notch. So I wonder if they're related.
The connection between his character of Sweeney with Shadow Moon.
Oh,
and then
that
Shadow
was that
Moon,
scene.
Yeah. Shadow Moon's wife, his
Played
connection
by
with her.
Emily Browning.
Right. You know,
Dead wife.
yeah, she's a dead wife because you know she had a salami in her throat. And when you watch season
She
1,
played Laura
you'll
Moon.
see what I'm talking about. They were driving and then she wound up with a
Well,
whole salami.
So Laura Moon, who is Shadow's wife,
Uh-huh.
Emily Browning, her acting is good too. I mean, because she irritates you. So you know the acting is great when you're like seriously irritated by the characters.
See,
So unlikable.
See, season 2 was strange. It was like the new showrunners
Right.
changed the script because Sweeney's character
Right.
had got kind of sweet on Laura Moon.
Right.
And when this and Shadow Moon was distancing himself
Right.
from her, and all of this is supposed to be just in a week's time, even though it took over a year for it to come back, right? So on American Gods in season 3 opening up,
Right.
it's the opposite. Then
Season 2.
It's season 2 opening up.
Looking
it's the
forward to
opposite.
season 3.
Right?
Yeah.
Sweeney all of a sudden was in disdain, and then Shadow Moon seemed to be puppy dog
It's
eyes,
crazy.
but it's dead one.
Well, he said
right?
don't call him puppy anymore.
You don't call him puppy
so,
anymore.
also starring is Crispin Glover plays Mr. World, Omad Apta, and Musa Karash. So it's a great cast, the American Gods. So definitely catch up, and when season 3 begins, you want to watch it. It's really good.
The more Barnes, who plays the Undertaker,
Oh yeah.
who sews up the body, they're in this in this town, and he's the Undertaker. He's also a god. As I
Ibis.
researched it, I
Yeah.
found out. No, he goes by.
Well, they call him Mr. Ibis on this.
Well, they call him Mr. Ibis, but the god name is
Oh yeah, his
Thoth.
god name. Okay.
Thoth.
Yeah,
right?
because they are
each one of them
gods.
have 2 different names.
Right.
So he's Thoth,
Right.
and he's the guy, and so he's going to open up more now. In season 1, he had a partner,
Right.
which they're not showing anymore in their dialogue, because he would be the narrator of the story in many of the episodes.
Right.
And then Orlando Anderson would be the narrator in the others. And so it was really good. So did we go through everybody?
Yep.
Oh, Michael and Brian were the showrunners in the first season. We're going to say that. So the second season opens up confused. And you're sitting there like, what's going on? But
I'm glad we hung in there.
And we hung in there, and we told you about it by the 4th episode
Yeah.
through the 8th
It takes
episode. It takes off. So you got 5 episodes. You could forget, well, to get the story, you would have to watch the first 2, but you could ignore those 3 episodes from season 2 and just
Yeah,
roll
but you want to
from
watch it.
4
We
to
hung in there
8.
because we said it's got to get better.
It's got to get
and
better.
it did.
And it did. And it's an incredible piece.
Right.
And so this season
Right.
of American Gods, season 2, we already said season 1 was a 10,
Right.
10, 10, 10 for many different reasons.
Right.
What would you give American Gods season 2?
Okay, so because it opened up the way it did, like it took off from 4 until it ended the season finale, I would have to give it a 10 because it like really opened up. And I'm not going to tell it, but what was revealed in the season finale, hey Just Flo,
Hey, what's going on, Just Flo?
what
Thanks
was
for chiming
revealed in the season finale is amazing, and it's what we thought already. So I'm not gonna tell it so you can see it, but what was revealed is what you kind of have a feeling about as far as Shadow Moon, the star of the show.
Yes. Shadow Moon arcs at the end. Episode 8, Shadow Moon has begun the arc of the story.
Yeah.
Let's go
And
back
I love
to
his character. He's a black character, strong character.
Yeah. The first 3 episodes of season 2, he was soft.
But he
I was
was
like, this
kind,
isn't the same
though.
guy.
He was kind.
He was like
rhymed
totally
with
believing
kindness.
everything that Odin was telling him. Mr. Wednesday was
Well,
telling him. I was
'cause
like,
he
that
looked-
wasn't the guy
he
at the
looked
end
at
of
him
the
like
season.
a father figure.
Yeah, look at him as a father figure. So look for that. I don't know how that happened, but look for it. But he has arced and he has found himself, and
Yes.
you know who saves him? the female god, and that you got to watch it. You got to see
The
it.
black
You'll
guys,
see.
they
the
have
black
his
guys
back.
have his back.
They have his
because
back.
they'll be talking
Right.
and letting him hear their conversation because they know he's there.
Listen, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's go back to
He's like the baby. Well, I don't want to say
let's
that.
go back to the watch party.
Okay.
Let's go back to the watch party. Down at Softball said real talk. She also said true actors are always naked.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's the truth. I'll say that. Cleveland, that's right. Cleveland's in the house. They are shady with that signal. You are right, Shanine. They are shady with the signal. All right, so my rating on season 2, it's a 10.
It's got to.
It's a 10. Listen, the black actors alone.
Amazing.
Listen. Like I told you, this is what I'm gonna tell you. I have to say this. Because they have to be in the game so long before recognition has always been there. Scatman Crothers, Nipsey Russell. Nipsey Russell was way back in the 30s and he looked the same
when he did
all the way through
Wiz,
the
he looked
70s
great.
and the 80s. You know, he kind of retired in the 90s, but he looked the same as he did in the late 30s. And I'm sitting up here like, that's Nipsey Russell? And you understand that? So just being able to last that long, people who were on the Chitlin circuit, Moms Mabley, all the people, Nat King Cole, you know what I mean? If he hadn't died at 45 from lung cancer, he just would have been, he's already great, but he was just would have came through the ages. You know what I'm saying? We don't crack. You know what I'm saying? Through all the different things. You know what I mean? Because, so just the acting alone and knowing the history of black actors in America, you're seeing 30 years of experience of one person, 30 years. That's 60 years of experience between two people on the stage. And then the person who's the newer person, the Badaki woman, she's newer to the game. She's polished though. She's been in it for at least 20 years,
with
right?
The three of them,
So she's been at least 20. So you're looking at least you're looking at least 80 years of experience between the three people acting on the screen. That's a 10. Whenever it just hypes up, the acting just elevates every time they're on the screen. It elevates on American Gods. That's a 10. The use of lighting to set the scene. It's not very much. It's not that much touching after a post touching that they're doing in it, because they're using the budget to make sure that they can shoot it, and what they get on digital is what is the finished product. Right? They might put a little grain on it for certain scenes to do something different, or give it black and white effect. But other than that, or sapphire effect. But other than that, the lighting, excellent. The use of angles, the scenes in the mortuary chapel. Where Queen of Sheba is giving a eulogy, it appears. But then actually there's no casket there, and she's really giving a sermon. So she opens up in the Christian doctrine in the sermon, but then goes to Psalms and picks out one of Solomon's more sensual psalms, and the people, the males and the females in there are in. You just have to see it. That's a 10. It's a 10. The acting with the European American actors, the storyline after you get past episode 3, beautifully done. There's no miss in story beat whatsoever. Everything connects. The connectivity is there. The angst is there. You look at the screen and say, what are you doing that for? I mean, it's all there. It pulls you in. You're sitting there watching on a 50-inch screen. That's all I have to say. Especially episode 8. If you're into everything that we've told you, get a 50-inch screen and watch that. Matter of fact, they should take the first, second season and take it to the theater and let people see it on the big screen. Okay? So that's a 10. So American Gods season 2 is a 10. Definitely start with season 1. It's a 10 all the way through.
Yeah.
Season 2.
Right.
The first 3 episodes, but
Right.
4 through 8
Right.
compensate and turn it into a 10.
Right.
It just elevates after that, right? All right, so that is, thank you. This is so on point. Thank you, Diana Softball Cooks. Thank you. Okay, so now.
Do you have the Shy on there?
Oh, I don't, but let's talk about it. Okay, so The Shy is in season 2.
Yep.
And that's showing on Showtime?
Yep.
Showtime,
Yep.
right?
Yep, Showtime.
Okay, so if you don't have Showtime, you can go to Netflix to see season 1.
Yeah.
Because season 1 of The Shy is up there now.
Excellent.
Season 2 opens, and somehow the shooter is gonna find his way out of jail. Can you believe that? And the one character says, all these people who are actually doing crimes that you can't arrest, you get the person who actually did it, and they confess, but they somehow getting out. Beautifully done. Like I said before, the black acting on the screen.
Superb.
When you get the people together, there's a female lawyer.
Right. Well, first of all, we have to say the creator of the show is Lena Waithe.
Lena Waithe.
And she does an excellent job.
She does an excellent job. See, in most of the 90s films, it was sensationalized, right?
Right.
Speaking of 90s films, John Singleton being placed into a coma after having a full-blown stroke.
Yeah.
All I know is
Prayers
Sharon.
go out to him and his family.
All I know is Sharon in Israel, he had a blown out stroke. They said it blew out his back. Anybody who knows about strokes, it blows out everything. He went in, and I said he's gonna come walking out of there. They kept it quiet, but in the end, he was doing children's videos that you can see on YouTube where he was doing things for the children, talking clearly and everything. And I said, that's the type of medicine I want. So I'm thinking that they put him into the coma because they put people in the coma so that what happened will not deteriorate the rest of the body, so they can probably bring the person back. What's the word for that when they rehabilitate?
Right.
They try to rehabilitate the person, right? But him going to full-blown stroke and then being placed in a coma and then all the drama starting between family members, that's a shame, but that's not what we're talking about. We're hoping and we're praying that he will have a full recovery, because if they could do that with Sharon, he had the full blown.
Yeah.
They can do it with him, and he can come back and be productive and come back again, because John Singleton's movies set the pace and brought experience.
Yeah, because he introduced us to Ice Cube, and then look at Ice Cube's film catalog. I mean, as well as a creator and a director, and so
look, Morris Chestnut on film and television. Cuba Gooding,
Regina King.
So I mean, and then they've gone on to do things where they helped and brought people along.
And
Angela Bassett. Lawrence Fishburne.
Right.
Look at him now. Films and Blackish. Yeah. Playing the father.
Executive producer.
You see where we're going here, right? And their jump started, like Lawrence Fishburne was in Platoon.
Right.
As underage, but he played.
Who was that? Was that Platoon? Is it Coppola? Whose film?
I'm not sure, but I know that. What's his name? Sheen, the father, was in there. Right? Was the star of that film. But look at that. But look what jumpstart their career was. Black people. Always stay with black people. Always bet on and stay with black. So anyway, listen.
He was in that other movie.
So back, you'll find it. So back to 90s movies. There was a slight glorification, or it wasn't meant to be a glorification, but it wasn't meant to be a glorification, but it was just telling the hard. It was.
Lawrence Fishburne was in the Apocalypse.
Apocalypse Now, right?
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah. So it wasn't it wasn't to actually glorify, but it was just bringing the truth of what was happening. And when you watch documentaries and you see how people felt who were ignored, right, and you see the people who were acting, they talk about in the film when they came out of the theater, and they would be standing there, and the hardest gangsters would be like, I didn't think anyone cared. And they would be shedding tears. I didn't think anyone cared. I didn't think that anybody wanted to hear my voice. And it's just like what Ice Cube said. John Singleton had his pulse. Yeah. He had his hands on the pulse of what people in the hood in LA at that time were thinking about their existence, that no one cared who cared. And really, when I say who cared, who cares about what they really thought about what they thought was happening on the screen? Right. The people who got it, who were European Americans, got it, and the global community who got it, who were Europeans, they got it. Right. But for the rest who just thought of it as, hey, what's going on, Jason Hicks? Thanks for chiming in. Me and Jason used to work at finance together. We used to push carts back in the 80s. Yeah. But anyway, so, cruel and demeaning toilet bowl cleaning. But anyway, listen. So, who cares about what they think? Yeah. So I mean, because ultimately, what they think is one thing. So who cares?
The good thing is,
it's a black thing. Right. You still don't have to understand.
Well, one thing about John Singleton is he is known for including the community in his projects. So just like in the film Boys in the Hood, he included actors from the neighborhood, and also like in Baby Boy, he included some of the gangs as well as other members from the community were a part of the film Baby Boy. And so our prayers definitely go out to John Singleton and his family, and praying for a speedy recovery.
Diana Sappho Cook says, induced coma does relieve stress on the body.
That's good.
Tiara King joined in.
Hey, Tiara.
What's going on? She's on and she's clapping and smiling. And she's on the watch party. We have the watch party going on.
Hey, Tiara.
And then Diana Sappho Cook says, so proud of Ice-T and Ice Cube's transformation into acting. And then Shanice said, replied down to Diana, and she said, didn't know that. And then they all give me hope at 65. Yeah. Diana Sappho Cook. That's right, because it's not about when you get in, but when it's time for you to get in, that you're ready. And that's what it is. Who told that story about being I think it was John Witherspoon. Okay. He had been trying for a long time. He got it.
Oh yeah, he did say that.
And when he got it, he came in and he got it. He got in until late.
Did he say he was in his 50s?
Yeah, he was in his 50s when he got in. You know what I mean? So, but because he had been with Richard Pryor in there. Right. But that show had folded because Rich said that he couldn't have much time, couldn't do it. And that's what Paul Mooney said. So.
Oh, Tiara's online, and happy belated birthday. Yesterday was Tristan and Taylor's birthday.
That's right. So we want to say happy birthday to them. So speaking on that and saying that and talking about movies and going to the 90s movies and coming back to, what's the movie we were talking about now?
We were talking about The Chi.
The Chi. Talking about The Chi.
Let's just the cast real fast.
Okay, let me finish the point there, because we had got off on a tangent there. I got to reel it back in sometimes. We reel it back in, but I got to really talk about the purpose and hoping that John Singleton and praying that John Singleton has a full recovery. Yeah. So now the difference, John Singleton's era and the Hughes brothers and the Hudlin brothers, their era, then it shut down for a while, and Hollywood said, we don't want no more of that black stuff. They do that. They did in the 70s. They came back a little bit in the 80s, shut it down, and they came back in the 90s, shut it down. This time, there's independent people who can keep things going now, and so we go. So that era brings to us this era where a woman in Chicago, she brings a different sensibility to Brick City, to the Brick City. She's showing you not only the horrors of inner city life, but she's they're dissecting and showing you why the person does what they do. Shows them as fully crafted and fully developed human beings within the script. And she's showing you why they do what they do. Whereas John Singleton and them may not have had the luxury to show you. They can only show you here are the good people who are trying to warn the people who are doing wrong. That's all they can show you. But here they show you that there's shades of gray in this black and white, and that's what I love about The Chi. Is there are fully developed characters on the page that the actor can breathe life into. So let's go through the cast real quick.
The cast starring Jason Mitchell, Antari Goombay, Jacob Lattimore, Alex Hibbett, Yolanda Ross, Shaman Brown Jr., which is one of my favorites. The kid who is it Big Papa?
Big Papa is a real great character.
Great character.
He's wise beyond his years.
Yeah, so young but so wise. Michael Epps, Tiffany Boone, Armando Resco, Barton Fitzpatrick, David Allen Anderson, Cedric Young, Burgundy Baker,
and so on and so on, because it's an ensemble cast and people are in and out. Some are
but we named all of the main
but the main characters. So The Chi is set in modern times. And it's really it's multiple storylines, but it really sets around a young man who has a fever for the flavor to cook. He wants to be a 5-star chef. And this is his dilemma ensues.
Oh, not to cut you off, I can't forget AJ Carr, the kid on the show. He's like the star to me.
AJ Carr. He's the one at the end of Panther.
Him.
Which I have a theory about Panther, because we're not going to see Panther again until 2021, people. 2021. Chadwick Boseman has a 6-year deal, a 6-year contract with them. So that means that this is going into at least, it takes every 2-3 years for a film to come. This could be going into 2029, 2030, which then leads to his sister, because the sister in the comic books, this is no spoiler, people read comic books, the sister takes on the
Shuri.
Takes on the Black Panther for a while, but it gives enough time for a young man from Oakland, which is this guy, to actually come in and actually become Black Panther. You see what I'm saying? It being that character, right? Who said, "Who are you?" You know what I'm saying? You're just landing in this spaceship. Who are you? You know what I'm saying? I'm Black Panther.
Was that the best basketball court?
He landed around the basketball court with his ship. He said, "Who are you?" He was just calm. He was like, we've seen spaceships before. No big deal. Who are you?
Black man
you're a black man coming. You know, usually they be sucking them up and doing all kinds of probes. You know, that's
look like a great alien that they show on television.
Yeah, that's the European American version of it. Our version is, you know, we know the black people in the cosmos.
He said you look like a man of distinction.
Thanks George Clinton and the P-Funk, all that. But anyway, let's
Parliament.
See. Down in Southall said, "I'm not a medical professional." Yeah, but you know, that's what we hear about inducing a coma when a person has a full-blown stroke. And then Shanine gave prayer hands for John Singleton. Okay, so it opens up. So he wants to be a chef and a 5-star chef, and he's went to culinary school, all that. But something happens and his brother is murdered, and it turns his world topsy-turvy, and then all the rest of the supporting cast, which is an ensemble cast, but it's really wrapped around him and his love interest. So he's, and everything that falls after that, then it's secondary characters and third characters that come in and tell this story. But it's really about him. So the first season was a 10. We weren't doing this at the time when that came out.
Well, we talked about it.
We talked about it since then, but it's a good show. But that's a 10. And now we're on like the fourth episode of the second
Is this
season.
this is the fourth episode
of the second
tonight.
season. It's a 10, people.
Yeah.
And you want to see great acting and seeing the next. We were talking when we first started this. We were talking about seeing the next generation of people coming up and acting in a film, like how A Soldier Story introduced Denzel Washington and all the
Harlem Nights also.
Harlem Nights introduced that, and it was the
ensemble.
old guard passing the baton, still relevant, still making it happen, and it was the young guard that was bringing them to still be relevant, but also passing the baton at the same time. Same thing with The Soldier Story. A Soldier Story. If you haven't seen that, that's where you first see Denzel and transform from being a straight-laced person to having resentment to being a villainous in the end. You see that, so that's well done. Glory is another film, not a black production, but introducing a lot of black actors into it. And
that's like one of my favorite Denzel films.
Yeah. And but we were just talking about that. I think that was like the second episode
Harlem
of the film
Nights.
review.
I mean, we said Harlem, but
Hoodlum, yes, most definitely.
Cast,
beautifully
ensemble.
done. Bill Duke. Bill Duke. I mean, the original Car Wash.
Great ensemble.
Oh my good. I mean, there's
Antonio Vargas.
There's so many Antonio Vargas opening up. And matter of fact, when he was presented at Franklin's Chimed in the Desert, they talked about his film and how he opened up because he said he had a brother that was homosexual, LGBTQ, right, and how that was really the way that they painted in the news and in the media that black people are intolerant, but we have always been tolerant. It's not true, right? And so for him to bring that character to life, that was groundbreaking back then in the 70s to bring it, and all the ensemble cast, Bill Duke playing the Muslim character who was vehemently against it, and then guy from Hogan's Heroes, I didn't know, I really didn't know until I researched it that he was the radio man from Hogan's Heroes, and he played the guy that basically the guy, the overseer, I would say. The boss trusted him, and I can't think of his name right now, but to see how people still stay ready to pull it off. Scatman Crothers.
Ivan Dixon.
Able to pull it off. You know what I mean? And to see him, I said, I didn't realize it, but it was him. So I'm just saying, it's amazing to see this.
Car Wash cast was amazing.
It was
a nice
amazing.
ensemble cast.
Run that cast.
Because Richard Pryor, Bill Duke, George Carlin, Ivan Dixon from Hogan's Hero, Franklin AJ, Antonio Vargas, the Pointer Sisters, Tracy Reed, Danny DeVito, Garrett Morris.
Morgan.
It is Morgan, but they're saying Morris.
They say Garrett Morgan.
Garrett Morgan.
They don't even know how to spell his name right on IMDb. Come on, Garrett Morgan.
It's an amazing cast.
No, Garrett Morris. Garrett Morgan. Am I getting a gas mask?
Garrett Morris.
Garrett Morris.
You're thinking about the gas mask.
Look, we're mixing up. You were mixing up time periods and history, our story. But anyway, look. So to see the Shy and see.
Not to cut you off, but now that they're showing us the bingo long traveling all-star, that film had an ensemble too, with Billy D. Williams, Richard Pryor, and Earl. What's his name?
We're gonna go
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, who played in The Great White Hope.
Right.
The story
so that was
of
another
Jack
great
Johnson.
ensemble
I mean,
cast.
so there are so many films to see, and you could just put these films in order and you can catch up, people. Like the kids, like they say the kids don't like to read, but they do like to read. They like to read what they like to read, right? But when you put them in front of a film and they see a dance in a film. I saw this film with the guy who played Biggie Smalls in Let's Do It Again.
Oh yeah.
And it's a film from the late 60s, early 70s, and it's based in England.
Oh.
And it was based in English, and the women had on their leather, and the woman started booty whopping. And I'm like, so there's nothing new under the sun, people. So it's so many movies that you can sit children in front of, the youth, and they will sit there and say, wow, 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 and they will be able to get something from it. The history, we put our history on celluloid ever since Oscar Micheaux, right?
Yeah.
We've been putting it on there ever since then. So there are stories from Oscar Micheaux that you will see, even in black and white silent, you'll sit there and be like, wow, right? And so there's a whole through line. You know what I'm saying? You get to hear the story in Oscar Micheaux when Booker T, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Marcus Garvey were alive, and he favored Booker T. Washington more, and you see that in his films. And you say, this is actually during the time when the man was alive. You understand? So we have a rich history of struggle to make sure that it's put down on film. And that's what you do it for. That's what you really do it for. Like when I do the Black Ice Chronicles, I do it so the actors can be seen, heard, recognized, appreciated. But years later, they will go through and see what we were going through and what the topics were. So there's many movies to tell. So back to The Chi, because we went off on a tangent again. Let's reel it back in. But The Chi, to see the seasoned actors and the new actors coming up and the actors in the middle. It's beautiful, and we had been talking about that in the episode 2 of the the film review about, you know, seeing something like that where you will see, and here it is right there on Showtime, and other shows. You know what I'm saying, where you're seeing the actors do what they do. American Gods. That's a mixture of new actors coming in.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? They
Ricky Whittle.
But when we say new, they've been seasoned in the game at least 15 to 20 years. The other ones have 30 years, maybe 40 years experience. You know what I mean? So, so what's new is really not new. Let's see. Shanine corrected us, said Morris.
Oh, okay. So they were right. Thank you.
Rodney Smith Dixon was his last name. Okay, right. Yes. Thank you. That's right. Antonio Fargas also did Everybody Hates Chris. He did.
Oh,
you see how
did.
You see how it keeps on.
Chris Rock.
Keeps on keeping. Morris, Car Wash is my cult film. That's right. Every time Car Wash comes on, plus you can
have to watch it and everything.
Plus, I believe, because you know I wasn't there at the time, but it's two films that I know of right now where you can see Fat Burger. One of them is in Car Wash, the diner, and the other one is in Dolomite. Now, for those Dolomite, so this is you're seeing history right there on film, right? So look, people may down Dolomite, but Rudy Ray Moore was able to circle the block with. He was within the line of Oscar Micheaux in that he barn burned his films across the country, and people went around the block to see his films, and he always won in his films. And so what can you say? I love Dolomite films. I know Human Tornado, the Devil's Son-in-Law,
they were all entertaining. Good acting.
And what did he do when he got the power? And Petey Restraw, he went there and made sure that everybody was rich in the hood. He just went around, and they had the slow motion, and they had the music playing, and he would hit the wine. He shared the wealth. And that's what people say, and people do. When we say we do that, that's what we do. Let's see. Car Wash is a cult film. Let's see. Continuous recycling of stories, fashion, moves. Exactly. That's a Donna and Sappho Cook. Thank you for your contribution to preserving the Black experience. You know, all we could do is do our part and put it in there, and it goes through our story through the centuries, and it comes back. That's what happens. The music in Car Wash was awesome. Great soundtrack. That's right.
Excellent.
Dick Griffey, Solar Records. they say when you watch documentaries on it, they say he had them in the studio, and he said that don't sound right. We're gonna cut it again, because back in the day you couldn't just stop it. You had to roll all the way through with the recording. It wasn't like it is now, where it's a lot easier, where you can stop and go back and punch in and all that. It's not like it was. So he said, no, we're gonna do it again, and they were playing that all out. That's why if you watch the Ohio Players documentary that was on VH1, and they talk about the Scream and Love roller coaster, and they say that the rumor was that it was a model that was on the honey cover, and the lights had dried the honey, and she was on a plexiglass, and it ripped her skin off, and they say that if we tell you, we'll have to kill you. They say. So they say that scream in there, because you only hear it once in Love Roller Coaster, is the manager. The rumor was that the manager had pulled his knife out and knifed her in the control room, and that scream, when you hear in Love Roller Coaster, you only hear it once throughout the whole record, because back then you had to play it all the way through. So we don't know how true that is, but they addressed it on the documentary. But that was the rumor on that. So whenever you listen to Love Roller Coaster, you will hear that comes in the second after the first 8 when they're doing the roller coaster, and they come back, and then you'll hear when it breaks down, goes to the first break, and you hear and it goes right along like if they were going down but anyway, that's another story. But anyway, so
The Shy is good.
I read Dick Greffy didn't play. He didn't, Shanine. He didn't. That's what they say. He didn't play.
He was Suge Knight's mentor, right?
He was Suge Knight's mentor, and on a documentary, he said he told Suge Knight, "You're doing everything right, but just don't get into none of the gang culture stuff."
Well,
and you know, but Suge Knight knew what he was dealing with, because in the documentary on Suge Knight, which we reviewed, Suge Knight said that they used him because they didn't want to deal with the invading hordes. You know, old boy didn't want to. What's his name over there?
Is it Jimmy Iovine?
Jimmy Iovine didn't want to deal with the Negroes. So they used him to keep them in line. I wouldn't have said that if I was him, but the truth is the truth. Some things never change. All right. So what are we giving The Shy so far?
Shy
First season.
First season a 10. From what I'm seeing, season 2 is a 10.
That's right. So these are things that you catch up on if you haven't seen them. Watch them. Great. This is a great time. But even before that, it's so, like I said, so many movies. I have to say it again. So many movies.
HBO did Native Son, the 2019
Oh no!
version.
Wait a minute. Now
we don't have to get into it, but Ashton Sanders is an excellent actor.
He is.
Excellent actor.
He is. Denzel Washington gave him his pop,
He
right?
sure did.
Right, and Equalizer 2.
Equalizer
opened
2.
it up, but he had been doing before. But when we saw him again, older,
Equalizer 2.
was Equalizer 2. But I want to know, why do they keep, out of all the books, why do they keep making Richard Wright that particular book over again? I didn't like the original. I don't like the whole concept that the person couldn't think. And the way that they brought it up to modern time, I thought was good. And
they gave you more information about Bigger's background.
Right. Because I said that I don't think that he would not. How could he get into this situation again in modern time? But when you're not used to being around a group of people who, when they come around you and they look at you, they act alien.
Because that's
Then it's subject that you might end up possibly falling into something like that, right? So
and then and just Kiki Lane is also in the film. She plays Bessie, Bigger's girlfriend, and we know Kiki from Beale Street. So, but Sanaa Lathan is in it. So, and David Allen Greer also is in it, and Stephen Henderson is also in it. So, if you get the chance, you know the outcome. But
you know the outcome.
But Native Son, the HBO 2019 version.
I remember when I read the book, I was so excited. Everybody talk about Native Son. I read the book, and then I watched the movie they made. I was like, this is depressing, yo. Like, you're not able to think. Then they did it again. Why, out of all the books, You know, the Harlem Renaissance, Richard Wright, all these books.
Directed by Rashad Johnson.
Okay, but it was shot in Cleveland, Ohio, though.
Oh yeah, how could I forget about that? Yeah, they shot the film
It was
in Cleveland,
Ohio.
Native
Executive
Son.
produced by Brad Pitt.
Yep, sure was.
That's right. So you know, you got to see great Cleveland use of Cleveland landmarks within it, even though Cleveland wasn't a city that was used as a character.
Right.
So it wasn't. It was more based on his. It was more claustrophobic because it was based on who he was as an individual, and he was very introverted, I'll say.
Right.
And he could come out and speak when necessary, but he was and that was the problem, you know. So
well, actually, okay, so this one was A24, so that's the other company. So this is Brad Pitt's company, but all right,
A24, okay.
Yeah.
So Shanine said, I hope that isn't true about Jimmy Iovine. And then she said, Diana Sappho said, me too. And then Shanine said, wow, I guess it might be because it was shot in Cleveland. But Richard Wright, I need to know why that particular native son is always used as stage. I mean, I don't understand. It's so depressing.
But you know what? This version,
so many other words. No,
the updated version was better because it did give you more of a background of Bigger and where he came from and his family
and where he was headed.
Where he was
headed to big things.
Yeah.
His mama considered him special.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah, it was. But anyway, so that one we won't rate that one because you know I would rate it low myself because it's depressing. So
I mean, you can't rate it low because it's depressing.
I would break up the acting. I mean, I would rate it low because
I would have to give it a 10 because the acting is great.
No, I would say
the cinematography is beautiful.
Cinematography, acting is great. That's 10. The storyline and what it's about, I just don't see it. You got the liberal Caucasians, and they like, oh, we don't have to do a background check on you because you came highly recommended, and then
but they did do a background check. Remember,
but they did, but they said they didn't, and we didn't.
But
have
then
to
they did
because you did, and then I'm with the NAACP, you know, and all that, and then in the end, he fumbles the football at the 1 yard.
Poor thing. He's young. He made a mistake. It was, but
because if I had saw her out there in
it took 2 days to watch it though.
I said, it took 2 days.
It was depressing. Wow. You had to stop.
It's like if I see her running around in her panties out there in front of y'all, I say, hey yo, why am I being secretive? I'm just the driver. Hey, come get your daughter. She out here acting a fool.
Right. That would have ended it.
That would have been the end of the story. That would have been cut. That would have been it. You know, because like I said, when I'm in the store, I look over. Do you understand? I don't look in the other direction. Right? So that's a whole nother
but
story.
we had to mention HBO's adaptation of The Native Son. So definitely.
Donna Sappho Cook says, me too was on how depressing Native Son is, right? Nope, I hope it wasn't true about the model of the Ohio Players album cover. I don't like Jimmy Iovine. Shanice says you don't like Jimmy Iovine. Alright, so Native Son, we've been through quite a few things and we said we were. So I gotta add that to the list. Yeah. The Native Son, I give it it's a beautifully written script.
Because I love the relationship between Bigger and his girlfriend Bessie, the love story.
I like the flashback between his mom and him, and how he was
and him and his brother.
He was the person in the house. He was the head of the household. Remember when they killed the big gigantic rat? Yeah. He killed it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So he was basically the person that everybody was dependent on.
And you learn about the great relationship he had with his dad, but then his father passed away. Right. So he came from a great family, beautiful family.
Beautifully written script. Beautiful on the stage. Right. Beautiful book.
Well, it's a 10.
Richard Wright.
That's why you have to give it a 10. It's sad, but
so on that aspect, it's a 10. Yeah. As far as the subject matter, it's depressing. I give it a 1.
You know what?
The acting in it, excellent. Lighting, excellent. Cinematography in it, excellent. The tension in it, excellent. That's a 10. Just the depression, it's a 1. Yeah. Right?
So that beach that they showed, it was probably either Edgewater, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made it what it looked like.
They did a great job. I mean,
Right, they did a good
it
job.
looked beautiful.
All right,
Cleveland looked
people.
beautiful.
All right, people. So we've come through all of
Speaking of film shot in Cleveland, now we're getting to it. Also, they shoot a lot of the Avengers stuff in Cleveland too.
Yeah, did they do this one in Cleveland?
Probably
Let's
so.
find out before we make that claim.
Okay, but go ahead and jump into the Avengers.
We've come through all of the black acting bliss, and now we're coming into a film that's getting ready to hit beyond the billion mark. And it was a film out back in 2017 called Black Panther that hit beyond the billion mark, and it was basically all black ensemble cast. But we're through with the black bliss right now, that it takes all of the various storylines to come together,
Right.
to be able to get to the $1 billion mark. I'll pin that and leave that right there. Now, we are talking about the Avengers
Yeah.
Endgame.
Yeah.
Is it worth all the hype, or is there flaws in the story? Or could it be both? Could it be worth the hype, worth all the hype, but is there flaws in the story? There is major flaws in it. For people who haven't seen it yet, we're going to be giving spoilers tonight. We're going to let you know off top, off rip, and we're going to get there. But Black Widow kicks the bucket. Okay, she kicks the bucket, and the flagship, the main character that kicked off the whole Marvel universe when that film first came out.
Right.
Tony Stark's catches the rocket to the sky. I'll just say that. All right.
Right.
So we open up. Anyone remembers the Infinity Wars? It was about the Infinity Stones, and you know that.
Oh yeah, it was. Because it says, not to cut you off, but Endgame beginning on August 10th, 2017, and concluded January 11th, 2018, with additional filming in downtown Cleveland.
Okay, Cleveland,
as well as
Ohio.
other places. But
Right.
I mean, Avengers always shooting in Cleveland. And I know Shanine remembers that. You know, working downtown,
Yeah.
sometimes during lunch, we have to like detours to go to different places because they would block areas off of different cities, like one of the Tyler Perry films.
Like when
I
you
remember.
watch the film, they always try to make it like it's Gotham, like New York City.
Yeah.
But you see the streets and you say, you know, that's Cleveland right there.
Yeah.
That's the city hall right there,
Right.
or you know, or that's the hall, Cleveland
Music hall?
Music
Or
hall.
public
Public
auditorium?
hall, public auditorium. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You can see it. You say that brick is unique.
What movie was that? We saw some movie and we said, "Oh man, Cleveland looked beautiful."
Yeah, it looks good the
What
way
movie
they
was
did.
that?
That was
Was that Native
that was
Son?
Native Son. Yeah,
Okay.
they did show through the
Oh,
window
yeah.
at night.
Right.
When they were driving at night, and they
Right.
showed it at night, and that was
And
pretty
at the where was it? The pond. Oh no, that was the Cleveland Abductions movie.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
They shot that in Cleveland, too.
Oh, yeah, that's
And they
right.
had
It was the
beautiful
Cleveland
scenes.
abduction movie. And they had Cleveland at night.
And Cleveland Clinic.
Old
They
girl
showed
did
Cleveland
not
Clinic.
sound like a Clevelander. Clevelanders have a certain
Lifetime
way to
movie.
deliver. Lifetime movie. It was about, and they did not give any haps to do breaking the screen out, other than showing them.
Yeah.
But they gave him no time. I thought that was
We better get back to Avengers.
okay. But back to Avengers, because we weren't going to rate that or talk about that.
But
movie.
since we were talking about films being shot in
In
Cleveland, it made
we
me
brought
think
it.
of,
Okay,
yeah.
so look. So Thanos, as you know, in Infinity Stone, he snapped his finger and he was inevitable.
Right.
So when it opens up, it's devastation. But you know when it opens up, it opens up at about the time when Thanos snapped his finger. Because you open up at Hawkeye. Now you remember in one of the films before, Hawkeye had retired.
Okay.
And he was with his family. So
Played
he
by
had-
Jeremy Renner.
That's right. And so he had his family,
Right.
and he was shooting. He had his daughter learning bow and arrows.
Right.
Shooting at the. She had just hit a bullseye, and so he was like. And then the wife calls because there's a picnic table about maybe 30 feet away. And she says, stop all that now and come on to lunch at the thing. So he turns around to look for his daughter. His daughter is gone. Right? So then he's looking around for her, and then when he turns back, his family is gone. And that kicks off the movie. And so that's the initiating event, kicks off the movie. So it's like you're seeing up close what happened to one individual when people vanish. Like, what was that show we used to watch on HBO?
Oh, yeah.
What's it called? The something where they left, but it was so stupid.
The Leftovers.
The Leftovers, that's right. So it was like The Leftovers, right? It was a concept where the people just totally disappeared. So then what you find out through dialogue is that he just went on a killing spree of killing villainous people who survived it, right? So that's what you find out from that. And you find that out from the character who kicked off, what's her name?
Natalie.
Scarlett
Widow.
Johansson.
Black Widow.
She's talking to, the two holograms of people who had survived from out of the Avengers, and she's telling me that they're trying to find him to stop him, and stop him, though he's wiping the earth of people who are villains, but they're not doing anything at the time because there's nothing to do anything with, because they survived it, but half of the people are gone. The birds are gone.
50%.
50%. There were no birds, right? So that's how the film opens, and you find that. So Ant-Man, which arguably I didn't see any of the Ant-Mans, right? But
now this makes you want to maybe.
We're gonna go back.
Paul
and see
Rudd plays.
Right. Ant-Man. Ant-Man somehow comes back because a big gigantic rat that had Native Son, had killed him, this picture wouldn't be going on. Like he killed the big rat. Same rat. It was before Native Son killed him, right?
Oh, okay.
And so, because it was in Cleveland, so he had found his way over to Native Son. Native Son smacked him, right? What's going on, Paula Johnson? Thanks for chiming in. Pamela Johnson. Thanks for chiming in. So he comes back through this thing. Anybody who saw the Ant-Man, they probably would know what it is. And so he comes back, and then you saw this in the previews. He's at the Avengers lair, and they let him in, and he talks about this time travel situation, right? So are there flaws in the time travel? Yes. I'm going to jump around because I'm not going to give full
First
plot.
of all, this movie is a 3 hours and 2 minutes.
3 hours and 2 minute film, right? So I'm not going to do that. But there are some flaws in there. Take Captain Marvel, for instance. Now, remember, I told you when the Shazam used to come on back on TV, when it was Shazam, and when he turned it to Shazam, he would be Captain Marvel, but now it's just Shazam, right? So that was confusing. So Captain Marvel comes out, and come to find out, Captain Marvel in the beginning was black, but we don't know why that changed, but whatever. Okay, so Captain Marvel is there. And why does she need help to destroy or wipe out
with
Thanos and his army? Why does he? So that's a character. That's a story beat there. That's kind of flawed.
Well, she told you that she has to help other.
No. When she comes though, when she's in the battle, why does she need help?
Oh, during the fight.
She shouldn't need help.
Right. Well,
she should be able to do.
Right.
That's one problem. Nebula.
Okay.
Now, usually in time travel, they tell you that you can't kill your doppelganger, because if you kill your doppelganger, you're probably killing yourself. And what's even compounds this in the Avengers movie is she's coming up against her previous self.
Okay.
And she shoots her previous self. So how come she just didn't totally disintegrate? That's a flaw in the story, and you're just supposed to just go along with it, right?
Well.
Now, so that's the story. Just a couple, because there's a few more, but I'm not going to go into it because I don't want you to necessarily rule the film. Now, the ties between the various films to bring it into this film,
Great
so
job.
that the generations, the younger generations who might not have necessarily watched the previous films,
Right.
could start and let this be a germinating point,
Right.
where it's tied in and you can see where this is happening and where this comes from the previous movies.
Right.
Beautifully done.
Beautifully.
Tying in the different stories, going back in the past to bring it present. Beautifully done.
The acting reminds me of like the acting in
Black Panther.
Black Panther. I think they definitely took a page from.
They took a page from Black Panther because this film is dramatic.
Yep. With action.
It is a romance.
Yep. Comedy.
A comedy.
Yeah.
And it's all in there. They took a page from Panther because when we talked about Panther, right? We talked about how out of all of the Marvel films, the acting in it was just outstanding. The dramatic acting, the close-ups, the use of close-ups that Coogler brought to the Marvel franchise. Now they're incorporating it in. It's not just the action film with the heroes going. Now they have feeling. You know what I mean? It's like when they made Superman so he wasn't as strong and he had to go up, but that's DC. But he had to go up instead of just going up and away. He had to grunt a little bit before he did, right? Making him feel more vulnerable. Well, they made the superhero characters in this vulnerable.
They did.
You know. And
I
so,
like what they did with the Incredible Hulk and David Banner. That's like one of my favorite parts. When they combined, when you see the film.
Oh yeah, when you see the film, it's interesting that he worked it out and he combined the two. It's interesting, and then the kids come and say, "Can we get an autograph?" You know, right? Can we get an autograph? Right. So
that was one of my favorite parts.
The ties of various movies together. Right. It's dramatic acting in this piece. It's thrilling. It's leaving you on the edge of your seat of what's going to happen next. What's going on, Rose Hill? Thanks for chiming in. It's action packed.
Yeah, full of action.
Full of action. Romantic. It's romantic drama in it.
It makes you sad and makes you laugh, and you see, some of your favorite characters do die or pass away, and this is a little depressing, but then you're happy to see others.
Yeah, we're right on pace.
Survived.
We're right on pace because in the notes I said Bruce Banner as a unique character.
That was great.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just unique the way that they put them together. Right? Yeah. And then, so the movie is in 3 acts. Right? The first act is actually what you would call within the big gloom. Yeah. It's like it's taking the traditional hero story out of order, right? Yeah. And it starts with the big gloom. So you're in the big gloom. This is happening, and then you have to pass 5 years from the happening of when Thanos snaps his finger to where the superheroes are now. Yeah. And it's been one big gloom. Yeah. Right? So you start there. The second act is what you would call the time heist, where they're going back and traveling through this another dimension into time and spreading out to try to get the Infinity Stones before old boy gets to it. But then there's a twist in the film where Thanos is able to find out what they're doing through who else but Nebula.
Right.
Through Nebula, he's able to find out.
And remember, Thanos, in the comic books, he's a genius. So.
Yeah, he's a genius. So he's able to just figure it out, right? Now, Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, great acting.
His acting on that is superb. The way that when he comes back, his relationship between Robert Downey Jr.'s
Iron Man
and his Spider-Man, and the reason why Tony Stark even decides to do it is because he feels bad about taking the kid, Spider-Man,
he was
and
his mentor.
watch him dissolve
That
off.
was his mentee.
Right?
He was a
So that's
mentor.
the only reason why he did it, because you know Tony Stark has a great life now.
Yeah, a
Tony
wife
Stark.
and a daughter.
A wife and a daughter. The
Yeah.
daughter is precocious and has a personality,
adorable.
and they get along well.
Yep.
And let's see what some of the people are saying on the watch party here. Tierra King said, "Awesome movie."
Yeah.
Rodney Smith, Avengers is a team movie.
Yeah.
Black Panther was a character movie. Okay. Tierra King, no, so sad about it.
Yeah.
BP was used to get people to watch the rest of the Marvel's movies. That's right, Black Panther was used because you know Black Panther don't come up until the last.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Like, where's Chadwick Boseman?
Pain in the butt while filming Spider-Man. Okay. A lot of films are shot in Cleveland. This is true. Hawkeye becomes his alter ego, Ronin. Revenge and anger. There we go. Yes. Watch Ant-Man. Great movie.
Okay.
That was Tierra
Okay.
King. Ant-Man gets stuck in the quantum realm because his people were dusted during the finger snap. Got you. Carol Danvers was originally Miss Marvel.
Oh,
there we
okay.
go. Good catch. Captain America and Peggy Carter. Okay, yeah, right. They get together. Let's not tell too much. No, it's a spoiler tonight. David Banner becomes Professor Hulk from the comic. You know, it's funny because for a long time, because you know I used to watch Incredible Hulk on when it was on CBS.
Oh yeah, Fridays.
Right. And for the longest
After
time,
Dukes of Hazzard.
for the longest time when David Banner the rapper came out, I could not remember Bruce Banner's name until this movie when they were sitting in the diner and they called him Bruce. And I said, that's right, because I kept calling, like what Rodney did, I kept calling him David Banner because David Banner is such a big figure in this world today through hip-hop and his activism.
Yeah.
And, you know,
pick up the God Box.
Yeah, the God Box 2.
Yeah.
You know, I kept saying David Banner, but it's Bruce Banner.
Right.
You know, Tony Stark and Potts, Chadwick Boseman, stars and smiles, hearts in the eyes, Shani. Okay.
Shani.
All right, so as it goes, so you're sitting there and you're watching it, right? And what you notice is the heartfeltness. So again, Spider-Man and Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. Great personality. It's touching when they come back together, right?
Yeah.
Now another scene. There's something that happens, and the Hulk as the original Hulk, because they're going back and basically looking at scenes in movies from behind. So they're looking at the POV of the scene through their eyes and trying to avoid meeting up with their doppelganger, basically, right?
Yeah.
And so something happens, and the Hulk, being the Hulk, causes Tony Stark to lose the suitcase, and in there is one of the Infinity Stones, and then Thor's evil brother is able to take it and vanish. Right? So that changes up the timeline, which means that he may come back later.
Right.
So they have to go back even further before that scene to back when Shield was first being formed. And he runs into his father. So he's grown and he runs into his father, and he has this heartfelt conversation with his father, and his father, he tells his father that he has a daughter. Now his father doesn't know who he is. Right?
Yeah.
But so he tells him some name, and he knows it's his father, and he's like flustered at first. He almost leaves the suitcase. He almost leaves the protective case, and he says, "You losing your case?" And so they walk outside. So his father doesn't think anything of it because no one is that deep into S.H.I.E.L.D. unless they are supposed to be there. So that he probably thinks he's kind of quirky, but they're having a conversation, an in-depth conversation. He said, "Yeah, I'm having my first. My wife is at home pregnant with my first," which is Tony Stark.
Oh.
And he's sitting there, he's listening to him, and he said, "Oh yeah, I have a daughter." And he's trying to tell his father that I have a daughter. You will be proud of me because I'm raising her the right way. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking time for her. But he can't tell him directly. It's really touching. It's really touching. And then his father asked him, "So when you saw her coming out and everything, what did you think?" And he's getting advice from his father. And then he gives his father some of the advice that his father gave him, and thus and so later he will give him as Tony Stark the same advice. So it's just really touching. It's like full circle type stuff because they had a strained relationship, and he really didn't know his father because his father worked. Whereas he was different with his daughter. He retired. He wanted to put Iron Man down and retire. So it's really a touching, real dramatic stuff in there. Not seen since Panther. Right? And so when he finishes up, he sees Captain America disguised. Captain America at the same time sees his... He has to go back further and see his girlfriend. Right? He goes back further. That he got froze before they could actually get married or whatever, right? So he sees Captain America, he's disguised, and he says, "Okay," and then as he hugs his father, and his father goes to the car and talks to his driver and says, "Have you ever seen that guy before?" And then he was like, "No." He said, "He just feels familiar." Feels, not seems. Feels familiar. Then he gets in the car, then they cut, then the action picks up again, right? So it's well put together. There are no doldrums in this film, right? There's no doldrums in this film. It's real touching. Tony Stark, his wife, and his daughter's relationship, really put together, really put down. Now, so as the movie goes on, you're like, well, you see the warrior. I forget the name of the warriors in Wakanda.
Oh, okay.
She's in the hologram. But you don't see them anymore. But you do see
Okoki.
Yeah, right. But I forget the name of the warrior tribe.
Let me see.
Something. Yeah, you'll find that. But so you don't see them anymore. But you do see Falcon. Falcon is with them, and you also see Potts, who is Tony Stark's guy, and he's in one of the Iron Man outfits, right? So they're going and they're getting ready to go back in time. So they go back in time. All that happens. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So Thanos finds out about it. We told you that about before. So he says, well, I'm just gonna wait until they get the stones, and then I'm just gonna swoop down, blow the shit out their lair, and then get the stones, send in my daughter, my adopted daughter, in to go get the stones. Meanwhile, his main daughter, who is played by what is her name?
Which one?
The main daughter is played by the black actress. What's her name? She's Thanos' daughter. She's the daughter. The one with the bald head is the adopted daughter.
Right.
And then,
Zoe.
Zoe Saldana. That's right. Okay. So she starts to listen to the doppelganger.
Right.
And decides that she's going to help stop her father. So she trades off, right? Because you would have to figure, because Thanos killed his main daughter, Saladin. I'm thinking about the chick from CNN.
Oh, okay. Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana. He kills her. What's her? Well, you'll get back to the character names, but he kills her. Another one. There's no way of coming back to that, right?
Right.
And at the same time, Black Widow is terminated also, and there's no way of coming back from the fall of no return, so to speak, right? So her character is brought back as a person who never knew what's the name of that?
Which one?
The raccoon and the
the
space,
yeah,
whatever they call, whatever that movie's
Guardians
called,
of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. That's right. She never knew them, so she's like a totally new character. But she comes in and basically takes the place because she jumps on Gamora. She jumps on the good side, you know, and no longer on the bad side, right? She trades off, and that's when old girl shoots her doppelganger. You're like, well, how come she didn't just evaporate and fade away? It's a problem with the story there, right? Because you say you're never supposed to do that. And speaking of doppelganger movies, Will Smith has a new one. Matter of fact, he has 2 movies coming out.
Yes.
He has Aladdin, he's the genie.
Right.
And the second film is called Gemini Man.
Yeah, it looks great.
It looks great. Will
Yes.
Smith always seems to come and come out. He takes time off and then he comes back and he delivers these things. So Gemini Man is coming out. Where his doppelganger, he's the real one, but his doppelganger is coming after him. His doppelganger looks younger, looks stronger, knows every move that he knows, and so he's trying to figure out, why are you trying to kill me? Why would he send you to kill me? And the doppelganger asked the man who made him, why did you do this to me? Why are you sending me to kill him? So they both asked the same question. So it looks good.
It's gonna be good. Oh, and another great trailer, Shani, speaking of Chadwick Boseman, 21 Bridges is gonna be his film, and it looks good. Really good. So those 2 films I'm looking forward to seeing.
Let's see. So Rodney said that was touching scene with Howard and Tony Stark. It was. Really, it was. And then Shani said, oh, Peggy Carter. Right. The driver was Jarvis, Tony's Al, that eventually becomes Vision. Oh, boy. See, Rodney knows these comic books, right? I had a partner named William back in the day. We were all coming up, and I had another partner named Joseph, and they were the comic book people, right? I was more into 2 turntables and a mixer, you know what I'm saying? So both genres, one was younger than the other, but both genres have seen themselves come into the 21st century. That's what I'll say about that. All right, so let's see. But he's naming everything that we named. That's good. I like the title. All right, Rodney. The Doras were based off the Amazonian Spartan warrior women from the Dahomey Empire. The most fearsome warrior women in history.
Yeah, they are.
These were the original Amazons.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Hey,
what's
Dame.
going on? Yeah, Dame. Hey, what's going on, Dame? Chiming in. We just finished talking about, we talked about that way back at the beginning about April 30th and all of the acts that are going to be debuting on the Film Review Music Review Show, and we spoke on you. So, yes, sir. Let's see. My cousins had me into the comic books. Shani had me in the comic books. Please. Oh, wait, what's going on? Oh, no, okay. All right.
The Wikipedia one.
If that's
the
one of
Google
the
woman,
ones,
she wanted to chime in.
That's one of the ones that will get you X for a second. That sure will be.
Chimed in.
So
technology.
It is. So the film overall, it is a
excellent,
dramatic, masterpiece.
Yeah.
Romance within it.
Action. Comedy.
Comedy. The comedy aspect. Oh, another scene that's so touching that I've seen people say that was kind of weak out of the ones where they went back to get the Infinity Stones was when Thor went back home and it dropped right in just before his mother was to die, right? And his mother, being the spiritual god that she was, she told the women that she was walking with, I'll be with you in a second. and just keep going. And so then she walks around the pillar. Next thing you know, they pan. I mean, they track the camera, and you see Thor looking around the pylon, and then you see his mother says, "What are you doing, Thor?" And then he jumps. He says, "Oh, nothing." You know what I'm saying? He said, "What are you wearing?" And he said, "Oh, this is my favorite thing." And then she was like, What's going on? You're not. Wait a minute. You're not the Thor I know.
Oh.
And then he was like, "Oh yes, I am." He said, "Come on now, don't fool me." And then so she basically knows that he's here from another time to do something. And he gets a chance to actually talk to his mother. It's so sad because when you have lost your mother, to be able to go back at least one last time and be able to speak with her and to tell her, like, he wanted to tell her that to try to avoid it to change, but if he had changed anything, it would have changed the whole timeline. And so she was like, "I don't want to know. You're here to do a certain thing, right?" And so she sat with him and she gave him the confidence. And at the same time, he was able to get his hammer back before it was destroyed. And so now he had the hammer and the axe. And so he was able to take that because, you know, his character, the comic relief of his character, of going there, and I said, "What is he, the Big Grabowski?" And then Tony Stark says, "All right, Grabowski," because he's let himself go. He's got the beard, the sunglasses, big gut, and he's sitting up there and he's drinking his beer, and I mean, it's just really good. But then he snaps back into being himself, right? And so that, you know, that's that was a real touching scene. You know, anyone again who have lost their moms, that was a touching scene. So hug your mom. I always told people when I first lost my mom and I would do streaming, I would say, hug your moms for me. You know, hug your moms for me, because, you know, always hug your moms, because one day she won't be there. And so it was just touching, the whole thing, and she gave him confidence and built him back up. He said, "It's not what you have done, but what you learn from it and what you do with it." And that is just great advice. Stan Lee. And Stan Lee makes an appearance. And so as always. And I'm sure through technology we will always see Stan Lee. Right? These films, and this is where we will end with talking about it. We gave a few spoilers, but I didn't give the full plot of the film.
Because it's excellent film.
It's 3 hours and 2 minutes.
So,
and so,
it's a lot to see.
But I will tell you this. First of all, these Marvel movies will go on way past all of us being here. That's how, and even the people who are working on it now, new characters will be introduced and the world will continue, right? That's one thing. Number two is there was no sneak peek at the end.
We stayed to the very end, till the credits ended.
Because I saw
a lot of people waiting.
A lot of people waited in the theater, and where there would be a break, they showed all of the Avengers and put their names in cursive, right?
That was nice.
So that's where it would be. Then when it ran the credits, I said, I don't think they're gonna have one, because usually they break and then it'll go to black, and then the credits, the main credits with all of the Unit 1, Unit 5, 20, all the people who had to do with making the film come up. And so, but we sat to the end, and there was no thing, because they killed off the flagship. And so my thinking on it is that they really don't know what direction they're gonna go in from here. I think it's a total reboot. Like I said, they made it so that you didn't have to see the other films, but though they were smart, they had the marathon in the theaters where you could come see all the films leading up to it. But
and then they have another marathon that's getting ready to start up again.
Right. So, but you could basically watch this film and it could stand alone by itself. And because of how they weaved all the stories together, right? So it could stand alone by itself. And so they gave you no clue of where they're going next. Because I think killing Stark, Tony Stark, killing Iron Man off, that incarnation of Iron Man off.
I hated that because he's one of my favorite.
That was
heroes.
a touching scene.
Yeah, that
because
was.
Spider-Man, the Spider-Man comes up first, which is actually just a boy. He's just a boy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Just like the young black men that get shot down the street, they're just boys. But anyway, that's another thing for another time. Never thought process for another time. But he's just a boy, so he's coming up. We won, Mr. Stark. We won, and then Stark is looking off because he can see that he's fading, and at the same time, his wife is coming and trying to move Spider-Man out the way because she wants that time. And then this is where I don't believe, because I've never seen it in film before. I've never read about it or never saw it. I've never seen European Americans or Caucasians give the person who is passing on the opening the door for them to pass through.
Right.
I've only seen that with black people. So that comes from conversations with Krugler, no doubt about it, and the Panther series. Like, the Panther series has probably already been mapped out, and there's some things, and so his wife telling him that everyone is fine, and you can pass on.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it chokes me up just thinking about it, because I did it for my mom,
Right.
and my wife did it for
my mom and my grandmother.
But when she did it for her grandma, that's another story for another time. When I tell
on
you,
dad's side of the family.
on the dad's side of the family, when she did it, when I tell you that hell is real, that's all I'm gonna say about that. When I tell you that what we saw, I said, wow, because she was lingering, but Tracy has a way of opening the door and telling people to pass on. So I've never seen that in movies before. Never saw any, whatever, like when they do movies, they don't say anything.
I think that's part of our culture that has
part of our
blended
culture.
into
blended into them
American
coming
culture.
because of Black Panther. And I'm telling you, Black Panther is probably mapped out, and you're gonna see that in the films, right? You're gonna see that.
But you know what? May 4th is the 30th anniversary of Batman, so it's gonna be in a few theaters.
Those are DC's. That's DC.
Oh, well, since we're talking about comic
yeah. I mean, I just want.
But yeah, so the anniversary of Batman, Michael Keaton and Joker, Jack Nicholson. So that'll be May 4th. The 30th anniversary will be in the theaters.
Let's see. The last one died in the 90s. I'm not sure. And then Shani says, "Wow, Thor and his mother was good." Yeah, it was, Rodney. It really was. A mother knows her son, plus she was trained by witches. That's right, she did say she was a witch, right? I wish, Shani said she wishes. I guess that she would. Yeah, that you could talk just one more time and say that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you know that, you know. Yeah. So that's why I tell people, value your mother. Don't be talking no don't be talking no shit, okay? I mean, value your mother, because that's the only one you got. You know what I'm saying?
And when they are passing away, and you know that they are passing away, and they're in the hospital, and it's the end, and you kind of give them exactly what they want. Because remember, with my mother, she's stage 4 cancer, and she wanted some cream soda orange juice. No, cream soda pop. Mm-hmm. We call it pop. You know, I know some people say soda.
We're Midwest, damn it.
So, you know, we went and we went to Whole Foods.
and got it.
And got her the orange cream soda. And she loved it.
That's right. So. And Rodney says she knew he wanted to tell her, but that it wasn't a good thing. Notice the women are on the rise. Lead by Captain Marvel. Potts will replace Tony Stark. Stan Lee rocks, Shani says. There was also a civil rights message. Expand on the civil rights message for me, Rodney. I didn't get that, but let me hear it. And y'all did it for my mom. Yeah. It's
we love Joyce.
Yeah, it's it's a crazy thing to lose your mom. My mom was
Yeah.
stage 4 cancer too, thoracic region and the stomach, and you know, my mother was. Both of our mothers were healthy. They did not look like they had cancer.
No.
Even in the casket, they didn't look like they had cancer.
Nope.
It was the strangest thing.
immediate.
It was immediate. It was like, you know what I'm saying, the good die and the evil linger around.
Yeah, and then
Is that what they say?
Then a few months later, then Shanine's mom passed.
Yeah, it's just like one you know, succession.
Great woman after.
Yeah, it was crazy. I did it for my mom. This is Rodney talking.
Yeah.
I did it for my mom. She wouldn't let go until I told her that her baby boy was okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. If I tear up,
Yeah.
because I'm feeling it right now. If I tear up, because that's the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing to do. It takes a certain type of person to be able to do that, because that stays with you. That right after when you say it, then the person leaves. Either immediately or a couple of days later. There's no more lingering on. That is it's so sad, but it's a joy that you are the one to be able to do that.
And
that you can say that they can move on and not be worried and not linger, because and so that's why I said it had to be something that's mapped out in Panther, because no Caucasian movies, none of them have ever heard them say your job is done, you don't have to worry, we're gonna be fine, you can pass on, and then he took his last breath. No movie does that. I've never seen it in romantic comedies, never seen it in nothing, but it's something that's already mapped out in Panther that they brought to this film to send Tony Stark off. That's not in their culture. That's in ours. But now it's going to become in their culture. Like instead of my bag, we used to say my bag. Now they didn't hear it right. They say my bag. So different things. Like I saw something about, we gonna rock the party right in Texas. We gonna rock the party right, rock the party. I was like, wait a minute, that was 5 years ago on a record.
And then they say woke now.
And they say woke. So I mean, it's just not in their culture, but it is, because they constantly borrow to be kind, steal to be frank. But anyway, let's go. Okay, so that is that's sad. I did it for my mom. She wouldn't let go until I told her that her baby boy was okay. I was her youngest son of 3. Midwest pop. That's what Shanice said. Midwest is pop.
Our condolences.
Our condolences. You know how that feels. Captain America and Falcon passing the baton. Oh yes.
Oh yeah. Captain
America, you know, he has to take the Infinity Stones back, and so he. So David Banner, Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner knows the technology because Tony Stark figured out the whole algorithm, I'll say that. And so what takes years to do, or hours or years to do, will take only a certain amount of seconds in the world that the person passed through from, right? So they're looking for Captain America to come back, but Bruce Banner says he passed the connection point and moved on someplace else. So when you see him by a lake. His back is to you, but he's aged to like 80 years old. And so he went and lived that life. And he passes the baton over to Falcon. He passes the baton, meaning he passes his shield made out of vibranium over to him, for him to become the new Captain America. So ladies and gentlemen, as we go forward, Captain America will be a black man.
Played by
who else other than
I used to know his name, but I haven't seen him in
Kevin Mackey, right?
Kevin
Mackey, right? All right, so let's see what pass the baton. I miss both of your mothers. I miss
Anthony
their
Mackie.
advice. And Anthony Mackie, that's right. Kevin Mackey. Where am I getting that from? Kevin. Who's Kevin Mackey? I miss both of your moms. I miss their advice. That was Shanine.
Oh, thank you.
A black man becomes the symbol of America. That's true. Carrying on in their spirit. That's what Shanine said. They're always behind.
Yeah.
They're always behind us. I guess that's what she means.
Yeah.
Black people have always represented the idea of America better than white people. Rodney Smith says that.
Yeah.
Don't give it all away. I said it was going to be spoilers, Rodney. I said it was going to be spoilers. But I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
It's
but
something else. It's something else. Oh yes. During the battle, which is the
you're
third
still
act.
talking about.
During the battle, during the
I thought you
third
was
act.
wrapping it up.
During the third act, Captain America looks like he's spent, and Thanos is about to do it.
Oh.
And you hear someone say, Captain America, come in. And he says, who is it? He said, to your left. And then the alternate universe opens up, and who comes through but Panther?
Yeah.
And they're ready to, and his sister and his guard, and they're ready to get it on. And so the one thing I didn't like about the sequence was they had Panther running like he was Jim Brown. And when I think about Jim Brown, I think about the Dirty Dozen, and I think about how Jim Brown was running. He dropped the grenades down there, and they got him in there. And that was kind of like that. Give it to me. And then he went running. So that's one thing that I didn't like about that. Why? Okay, Panther, he's black. He's probably going to be the fastest running, huh? I mean, I'm just saying, they just threw that in there. So I didn't see a civil rights message. I saw a Jim Brown message in that. But nothing happened, you know what I'm saying? They thrash Thanos and his army. And so you see the film. So we didn't give you every detail because we want you to definitely go see the film. Shani said, Crazy D can't help himself. Don't tell him about Hammer. Don't tell him about Hammer. I don't know about Hammer. So, okay, people. So, we gave you a bit, gave you the touch, and even had some tear jerking there as people remember. So, like I said, always remember what I take out of it: the strongest scenes outside of the action scene. Oh, wait a minute! Action sequence 1. There's a samurai sword sequence in this piece, where there is samurai sword play, where you get to actually see what Hawkeye Ronin is doing. Okay. And I mean, when I tell you that it is dramatic, and it almost turned rated R right then, except for, well, we won't go into that, but the first slash was it. You know, it was like he was giving him sideways by doing it himself. One person to another person, giving him sideways, honorable death, right? Still, but anyway, so see that. But so, like I said, it was a tearjerker, like we say. The most beautiful sequences are the heartfelt scenes, and we tell you, to me, like, people thought that was the weakest. Going back to get the Infinity Stone was the Thor, and I thought that was one of the strongest. Yeah. So always tell you. So that leaves me with always hug your mom. Hug your mom. Yes. Hug your mom for yourself. Hug your mom for me. Yeah. Make sure that you see. Yeah. Make sure you spend all the time that you can to see your mother as much as you can.
Your mother, your grandmother, your aunt.
You always have one mother, right?
Cousins, your family.
Yeah, everybody.
Your dad.
Your
uncles.
You see, talk to them as much as you can, because one day
Mother's Day is coming.
One day, as time goes along, you will have the uncles that made the party, and then one day you will become the uncles that make the party. Right. And that's just how life is, and that's how life goes.
Mother's Day, hug your mom.
That's right.
Spend time with her, make time for
because
her.
We don't celebrate Mother's Day. Well, we celebrate for those who are, and we celebrate for those who are still here with other people's, right? Yeah. But for us, Mother's Day comes and passes. So anyway, what would you rate?
Oh, come on, that's easy. A 10 plus 10 plus 10, definitely a 10. Great acting, cinematography,
CGI.
It's everything. It's everything.
The use of the heartfelt, dramatic acting in it.
Excellent.
Not seen in Marvel since Panther.
Right.
Beautifully done.
Yeah.
Bringing black culture into the film through like what we talked about before, and expanding more and expanding it across and making America have a face, a new face. Beautifully done. So you said a 10, 10, 10.
Yep.
I had to rate it a 10. All right, people. So in closing, let me say, April 30th, the Film Review Music Review Show. We have the first acts up. Uh-oh, where's my paper? I'm supposed to be smoother than this. J. Jig Cicero, female MC, Rhyme Schemes, Preach J. Clark, Gospel MC, Mike Blees, Neighborhood Watch, Pro-Black Music, Casey J. Paz, Dame Israel, Master Belly from Africa, OGYG, Ism Twin and Icy Jones, Wolf Dotson and No Face Shadow Man. So this has been another great, robust episode of the Film Review.
Yep, and thank you all for joining us.
Thank all of you for chiming in. Let's see if we got some last
Is this the one where
minute
press
chimes
the
in. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Make sure that you go to on YouTube, go to the Film Review Podcast channel. It's the new channel. It's going to be all populated. Subscribe now. Go to TV shows and films created by Crazy D YouTube page and subscribe. We're trying to top off at that 1,000 so we can get it popping and get it moving on to other things. We got everything on there. We got Franklin G's Like It Is radio podcast on there. We've got the Black Ice Chronicles on there. We've got us on there, the Film Review. We've got all kinds of shorts and vignettes on there. Go on there and subscribe to that channel. TV shows and films created by Crazy D on YouTube, and the Film Review Podcast channel on YouTube. Subscribe to both. Subscribe to both. Push like and like all this, what you saw here, like all that. Watch the shows on there, like all that. Continue to watch the broadcast that we put up, which they cut us, but we brought us back. We have been here 2 hours and 45 minutes and counting, people. There's another long one, but we had to get through it. Listen, we'd like to thank you. Make sure again that you subscribe to TV shows and films created by Crazy D channel on YouTube and the Film Review Podcast channel on YouTube. Subscribe to both. It's going to be popping. Make sure you like everything here, like what we did. Let's see if there's any last minute things that we have to say before we get out of here. Don't tell him about Hammer. No! He is one of the faster than Captain America. Remember when he laps Falcon? Okay. Black Widow brings Ronin back to sanity like she would do with the Hulk. Okay. My dad just texted me. That's good, Shani. I hate MD. MD is its abbreviation. I think Maryland. But no. And remember the spell put on the hammer. The person has to be worthy to lift it. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Go to the theater and see that. I got you. The hammer. I got what you're saying. And he always knew. Thor always knew, pure of heart. Right? And so that means that the black man will become pure of heart when he. Well, anyway, go see the movie. It's well worth seeing. It's a 10. So we just finished reviewing Endgame, the Avengers. We talked about many things, but we talked about American Gods on Stars. You must see it. The Shy. Showtime. Right? And we
Native Son.
We talked about Native Son. And what else did we talk about before we close out? We'll make sure that we get everything in. And then we talked about the Avengers, American Gods, right? And April 30th again is the film review, music review show. So this has been another great, robust episode of the film review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
Tracy.
And we review music, movies, culture, politics, and society. And we will see you next time on the film review. This is another great episode of the film review. We are the husband and wife team. We are the husband and wife team. We are the husband and wife team. Stay tuned. We're the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D. And this is the film review. Stay tuned. We got a lot to talk about. We are the husband and wife team that review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. This is the film review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We're the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
Tracy.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. Sunday at 5:30 on Crazy Dion page on Facebook. Live stream. The film review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. This is the film review.